Friday, and it's freezing. February 4th, 2022 edition. Welcome in to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios in beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. I am Gabe Kuhn. My partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He is Brett Stats Norsworthy. Brett, hello.
Hello, Gabe. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Producing the program, Go Tigers 247 writer himself, Brian Dacus. Brian, hello.
Hey there. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
Yes, sir.
First hour of our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. Guys, I have bad news.
Oh, no.
Really bad news.
No.
I had been lucky until about 9:30 p.m. last night. I lost power.
Oh. Is
I
it
lost
still off?
power.
Or
it's
did
still
you get
off.
back?
It's
Ooh.
still off. It's ugly. It's getting ugly there in East Memphis. People across the street from me still have power, though. So I don't know how that works.
That's the worst.
And it's bizarre when it went off. It's bizarre because there's nothing really going on, and you never know if another tree sort of fell under the pressure or a limb or a branch, but finally got to me. I woke up at about 8 a.m. this morning, freezing. House, when I left, was about 48 degrees. Brian, you got yours back, though, right?
Yeah, mine
Did
actually.
you leave water dripping?
Ooh,
Yes, I left water dripping.
I
opened up so the pipes, got a little bit
big.
of warmth.
Exposed.
Yeah, I took all the necessary precautions, and I
Brian, have you been covered?
Yeah, we were good. We actually we got our power back last night, right when the UCLA Arizona game tipped off.
You know
so
what?
I got extremely
Great game,
lucky.
too.
Oh,
Sorry,
great game.
Gabe.
right when I was about to watch it.
Sorry, Gabe.
It went ahead and went out on me. But I had transfer all over. Like, we freeze meat at my household, so I had to send that over to the. I'm gonna say mother-in-law, even though me and Taylor aren't married yet, but
Same thing.
I can't call her girlfriends. I can't call her girlfriends, Mom. That doesn't feel
Girlfriend-in-law.
Like enough. See, no, that's not how that works.
Well,
But yeah, I had to transfer all that over. We still have 123,000 people without power right now. Overnight, they didn't get much done, Brett. To be honest with you,
they can't. It's just so much. They've been overwhelmed, and I know nobody cares. But you asked me the other day where this one ranks,
right?
In my rankings, and it has
I
moved
know.
into the top four. And in my way, in eastern Arkansas, we have just not had the ice on the trees like you've had it in Memphis, and particularly, I don't know why, but every ice storm, the bullseye in Memphis is kind of that Midtown, Cooper,
Yeah.
that area. It gets in all those majestic, trees. They fall and cause
Extending
so much
into East
damage.
Memphis, where I'm at.
Right.
So MLGW, their update said it could take days, and I don't doubt that.
That Overton Square area, that always seems like ground zero, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For every ice
But
storm
that's
we've ever had.
There's a lot of trees over there, and it's old housing. A lot of old housing.
Uh-huh.
So I understand. And obviously the Colliervilles, the Germantowns get their power back quicker.
Not as many big trees because it's newer.
Yes. But the thing that's really frustrating to me, Brett, being from St. Louis and experiences in Chicago, this type of storm in places like that, and I understand the infrastructure is different. They invest in different things.
It's ice.
But this is a sort of an afterthought storm in a lot of places. And
Yeah, and it's the ice.
It kills
and
us.
We don't have it often enough
To have the preventative measures.
And those preventative measures, I mean, why wouldn't – and this is big Monday morning quarterback during the middle of the storm for a lot of people working really hard. And you may have that lineman or that tree removal guy that left or gal that left a house this morning, and they don't have power either. And they got the double whammy of fighting this. But why? And when you mention trimming a tree, you have people get mad at you. But you've got to decide, what do you prefer, the shade, the beautiful tree, or power once ever 10 or 15, 20 years when this calamity hits?
Well, I was on the way to work, and I saw a full tree in someone's front yard uprooted the entire sidewalk. It was leaning on their house. The roof damage is ridiculous.
Gabe, after the 2000
that's a lot of
storm
money
we
that
had,
you have to drop.
December 13th, 2000, we had this circumstance. It tarried into about 3 or 4 days. This is almost going to top. It's going to top it, I think. That got me on a very ambitious tree trimming, cutting plan. And then the windstorm of summer of 2003, in July of 2003, that's when I said, that's it. And I had a neighbor, a nice elderly lady, friend of mine. She came out and gave me the going over when she saw them cutting some trees in 2004 or so. When
right.
I said, that's it. I'm doing it. First thing I told her nicely, I said, ma'am, mind your own business. It's my property. And I don't like the leaves. I don't like the limbs. And I prefer electricity to a shade tree.
You didn't yell down an old lady, did you? You didn't have to say, get off my property.
I did not yell. I did not yell, but
okay.
I told her, I said,
it's my property.
It's mine, and I can do with it what I want to.
Right. MLGW says by tomorrow there'll be 54 out-of-city contracted crews and 61 tree trimming crews going. There's 18 MLGW crews working 16-hour shifts along with 25 troubleshooter teams. So they're doing all they can right now.
They are.
But it is what it is.
We commend them.
Yes.
And I told you, my friend with the tree cutting business, when he told me World War IV, you skip right past 3.
Yeah.
I told you on Wednesday this one was going to be for keepers, and sadly it has. And we're still closer to the beginning of it than the end, especially if you're sitting there with candles burning.
And there was a 15 car. Was it 15 cars? A pileup on
Austin
P Highway last night.
And Gabe, I said on Wednesday, a half inch of this stuff turns this into these words. I said it Wednesday. We can get the tape. Turns us into a demolition derby.
Yep. There's no question. I mean, in heck, normal circumstances, Memphis drivers are all over the place too.
It's very true.
Yeah, I mean,
if it's raining outside in the summer, it's terrible.
It's Matt Guano for sure.
Yes. A guest for today, we're going to have Alan Bell at 3:30. We're going to talk some Super Bowl, some college basketball, some hashtag Aaron Rodgers to Nashville. Talk with him. See if the Titans can attract Aaron Rodgers. We'll see. 4 o'clock.
Nashville. Everybody moves there. Don't they?
4 o'clock. Bruce Marshall joins us from the Gold Sheet. We have some NBA to discuss, some college basketball to discuss, some coaching news to discuss. I don't know if Brian Harsin. I don't know how long Brian Harsin has at Auburn. We'll get to that in a second.
I think the ubiquitous clock on 24 is ticking. Yes. Jack Bauer can't say Brian Harsin right now.
4:30, Drew Barrett joins us from ESPN Arkansas. We're going to talk some SEC basketball and some Razorbacks with him. 5 o'clock, Jason Munns joins us from the CA, talking the Tigers basketball beat. And, I mean, Amani to discuss, injuries to discuss, plenty of things
Full
to discuss.
go on playing. Central Florida's on their way to Memphis.
Yes. So we will get the Central Florida game, but that's not where the discussion stops. During the show, Daniel Snyder and the Washington Commanders, the now Commanders case, has another chapter. Congress heard and uncovered more evidence of wrongdoing. And it's just,
Did you watch any of that hearing? Well, I'm sorry, Gabe. I didn't mean to do that to you.
Yeah,
I know you didn't.
I didn't get to.
You didn't have it.
I didn't get to. But
I did.
I saw clips on my phone. And the woman, her name's escaping me, Johnston. Some of that testimony.
Tiffany Johnston?
Yeah, Tiffany Johnson. Some of that testimony was just tough to watch.
It was lurid. You're almost going, how stupid do y'all have to be? Animal House ran with more propriety.
Did I hear a member of Congress wore like a release the
He did.
What was it? There was a shirt. There was a shirt. It was
He did
release the evidence or something. I can't.
I didn't know who he was, but I saw the Congress.
What are we doing in Congress?
Speaking of Animal House,
my gosh, we're wearing shirts,
and that was on a day yesterday that the
got T-shirts
the
out.
Speaker of the House, third in the line of presidential succession, basically told the U.S. athletes, "Shut up and dribble." Yeah. Don't go to China and John Carlos and Tommy Smith would like a word with you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, some of the stuff that goes on in Congress is like a Royal Rumble match. I mean, I don't even know the way they talk to each other, the way they discuss things.
I'm telling you, it has everything but Lance Russell and Dave Brown standing in front of the desk on Studio Wrestling.
Also, we have some sort of early trade deadline news. Clippers and Trailblazers have made a decent-sized trade that includes the likes of Eric Bledsoe, Norman Powell, and Grizzly great Justice Winslow. Also, Sort of speaking of which, Grizzly not so great, Chandler Parsons.
Whoa. Chandler Parsons is a Memphis great. Legend. On and off the court.
Hashtag Chan Coon.
Exactly.
Legend in his own mind?
Yes.
Okay.
In our minds.
Thank you,
In
Brett.
our minds.
He's number one on the court, and number one in our heart.
Text line, let these guys know what they need to think about Chandler Parsons.
His all-star break Twitter feed.
Shout out Bella Thorne.
Yeah.
I understand. She came in. Didn't she come in the purple wig one time?
She did.
When
With the Chandler Parsons jersey.
One of the very few games he actually played here in Memphis, too.
You hadn't been out with a girl with a purple wig on before?
Personally, I haven't, but hey, you know.
Not that I remember.
The other man in that studio has. That's standard operating procedure.
Speaking of which, Johnny Harden just walked in the studio. But Chandler Parsons is talking trash on Twitter about Memphis, casting dispersions. Also, we have NBA All-Star reserves. They have been announced. A couple of things to discuss there. AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. You can also watch us live and message us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at Sports56WHBQ.com. All right, what are we going to do with Brian Harsin, Brett? Last night, some very bad rumors surfacing about the Auburn coach.
It's very sad. Somebody's going to be the recipient of Brian Harsin's worst nightmare. There is not a nicer community of people and the makeup of people than Auburn, Opelika, than Lee County. I've gotten in trouble with Bama friends of mine through the years. Of course, at retirement, if I could retire in any SEC town, get me to Oxford, get me to Lafayette County. But second would be Auburn. It is Mayberry. It's really nice people. It's a great program. And it's a shame that they've had this much tumult around their program. And I'm afraid for somebody I really like in Alan Green that took the ball and ran with it and hired Brian Harsin. He's going to be in trouble over this. And I'm thinking now that last Friday, all the jumping out there in the lifetime contract for Bruce Pearl was CYA, getting ahead of the storm that was coming for this week. Brian Harsin's not going to make it, but somebody's going to get a great job. And that somebody could very well be Bill O'Brien. And I'll make the case for him for a lot of reasons. One, just like last year, right there in the eye of the storm as offensive coordinator for Coach Nick Saban, been a head coach in the pros. That's alluring and appealing to a lot of people. But the biggest, if you can come in at Penn State after Jerry Sandusky, you sure can take care of this.
That's a very good point. And there's going to be a lot of names when I think, honestly, at this point, this happens. Because Auburn had some meetings this morning. The Board of Trustees entered into an executive session to discuss matters that they said are on pending future litigation, which I don't know what that means. But with the rumors about what's going on with Brian Harsin, you got to imagine it's that. And for those that don't know what we're talking about, this all sort of surfaced. Brett, I texted you, on Wednesday night about something that may pop up on Brian Harsin. Was that Wednesday
Maybe
night?
even earlier than that.
Yeah, I sort of knew that this was head. I had gotten someone sort of getting in my ear, telling me about what may happen. But not only we're talking about 19 transfers that left this offseason, one of which was Lee Hunter, who went to UCF with Gus Malzahn. He had an Instagram post a couple days ago saying that they were not treated good. They were treated like dogs. That's why there was the mass exodus. And then last night, and I don't know how true it is. I'm not sure the full validity of it, but there are some serious rumors of a Bobby Petrino type situation with Brian Harsin, where an assistant to the head coach he was having an affair with. Now, I don't know what that is. Brian Harsin has since come out and said any attack on my character is BS. None
his
of that
wife came out.
Is who I am.
His daughter came out.
And his wife has been all over Instagram posting a whole bunch of things. And
now you got players coming back to Hunter saying,
and heck, I heard his wife unfollowed him on Instagram. People are diving in this much. There was an Auburn Twitter Spaces last night where they're talking about all of these different things. Who's going to replace him? What's going to happen? But this Brian Harsin hire, from a distraction standpoint, from everything else, thinking about what you moved on from with Gus Malzahn, this has been an absolute embarrassment. It has been terrible.
And Brian Harsin left home. He left Boise, his alma mater, his beloved school, to take a swing at the big bad SEC. all day today, I've tried and tried and tried to come up with a way to blame this on Gus Malzahn, and I haven't been able to. But you give me the rest of the weekend, and I will, because I can't stand him.
I understand that. And I know that Auburn wanted to move on from him at the time. But I have said from start to finish, is Brian Harsin a better football coach than Gus? I've always said he's not.
You have?
What he did at Boise State was not impressive to me.
He wasn't the best Boise coach.
Yeah, you took over the best group of 5 program, and you you were stable. I'm not going to give you anything.
You drive it off the cliff.
But you didn't take it to that. You never reached back into the heights that they were at. You never got to a New Year's Six bowl game.
And Arkansas State people, I know of all the coaching carousel that they've had, he was the least liked among a lot of those guys that came through, and some really used Arkansas State, and some did well there.
No, it's funny to me, too, is when we talk about if he gets fired, and I think in a lot of ways when he gets fired, we'll see. People bring up Hugh Freeze and Lane Kiffin right off the top, immediately. Off the top. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You want to replace a situation where he could have been in bed with a subordinate, with someone under him, and you want to go get Hugh Freeze?
Throw Ed Orgeron in there.
I mean, good Lord. I don't understand these thought processes, but I think with Lane and Hugh Freeze, they're just always going to be rumored for any SEC job that ever opens up.
Lane Kiffin's the coach at Ole Miss, and he's very happy. A lot of people won't accept that.
Why would he leave Ole Miss to go to Auburn? That makes absolutely no sense. Just no sense at all.
And you know who just sits back?
He would leave for another job in the state of Alabama if it was open, but he ain't leaving for Auburn.
Not that one.
That's his dream job. And he just sits back, and Nick Saban just sits back and watches the rest of the league, really desperate to catch up with him. I mean, this week, is Pete Golden bonded out yet? I mean, Pete may still be sitting in the jug for all we know. And that's page 5 all of a sudden.
I was to say, Brian Harsin took some of the heat off him. I'll tell you that. He's all right. That can be page 5. Pete Golding's good with that. But the name that really keeps sort of popping into my head because of when Gus was leaving, the name that was surfacing, I feel like at this point in the game, where most of the coaching hires are made, if they part ways with Brian Harsin, is Kevin Steele in there? Would Kevin Steele make his third move in this offseason?
In the offseason, third in a week?
Yeah, true.
That's Olympian. Yeah. That's Michael Phelps territory there, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have 3 jobs in a week?
Yep.
My goodness. NFL season, it all comes down to Super Bowl 56. To celebrate, FanDuel Sportsbooks hooking up all customers with a risk-free same-game parlay. New and existing customers can place any same-game parlay of 3 legs or more on the Super Bowl, and if you don't win, FanDuel will refund you. Same-game parlays combine multiple bets from the same game into one wager for a big payout. Build your parlay your way with spreads, money lines, totals, Super Bowl props, and more like this. I like the Bengals. I like the Bengals money line. I love Joe Mixon over rushing yards. You throw that in there with an anytime touchdown from Chase or from OBJ, you got you a big winner. They're the number 1 sports book in the country for a reason. Fast payouts in as little as 2 hours. Easy to use, easy to place your bet, and a legitimate official sports betting partner of the National Football League. If you already have an account, you just place your risk-free same-game parlay before the Super Bowl to qualify. New customers join today with promo code CASH to enjoy 56-1 odds on either team to win the Super Bowl. You can turn a $5 bet into $280 cash. That's promo code CASH on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. And remember, FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The one and only Lexus dealership in our town in Memphis. They're title sponsor this hour, and we appreciate them. They're at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all 2022 models and always special leasing options. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style, driving luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Again, the only Lexus dealership in town. Proud of that. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
This isn't my top story of the day, but I was glad to see Sam Williams get the call to go to the Senior Bowl. DN Sam Williams from Ole Miss. He had a really good year last year.
Made him a lot of money down the stretch of the year.
Yeah, he sure did. But getting the call to the Senior Bowl is a good thing for him. Certainly going to be a riser during draft season. Now, my top story of the day is I didn't even get to talk about the Vikings hire, but we had another hire last night in the NFL. So I'm talking about both these hires. Rams OC Kevin O'Connell hired by the Vikings. And the Vikings were a big rumor for Jim Harbaugh. That's an interesting one to me because Jim Harbaugh takes an interview with the Vikings on National Signing Day. Bold strategy, and he didn't even take the job. I thought there was no turning back from that, but he turned back from it.
I don't think got offered the job. He went up there and had to go through the interview like he was interviewing for the HR position.
And all I could think about, too, with another Rams offensive coordinator, we've already had Zach Taylor get hired by the Bengals. Sean McVay's 36 years old, and his coaching tree is already starting to expand. That's going to be, he's got 20 more years at the least, probably.
Maybe
in the National
ice-storm-proof
Football
coaching
League.
tree.
Yeah, seriously. A redwood, I said on Twitter. It's going to be a ridiculous coaching tree. Also, yesterday, the Jaguars just can't get out of their own way. I thought their hire's fine. They go and get Doug Peterson, of course, Super Bowl winning coach with the Eagles, with Nick Foles, former Chiefs OC. It's fine. I'm not going against that hire, whatever. But Byron Leftwich was right there. It was obvious.
It was a small ball hire.
It was obvious that you should have gone and gotten Byron Leftwich, but they wanted to keep Trent Baalke, the general manager there in play. Shad Khan decides to make this decision. They get Doug Peterson, so that is what it is. Still no black hires, still no minority hires in this head coaching sort of cycle, but Eric Bieniemy, Byron Leftwich, and Brian Flores have all been requested by the Saints for an interview. But with the Saints, I sort of wonder. Dennis Allen seems to be the obvious choice there, but we will see what happens with the rest of this coaching cycle.
Would y'all be stunned? I base this on nothing. It's just a pure hypothetical. Would y'all be stunned if we got the early week announcement next week of Andy Reid retiring and Eric Bieniemy hired by Kansas City?
I wouldn't be crazy. I wouldn't be stunned. I wouldn't be stunned.
I'd be surprised, not stunned.
I'd be surprised,
yeah.
Yes, but I would like that. That would be cool for Eric Bieniemy. And I still don't understand how the guy hadn't been hired. Same with Byron Leftwich.
My top story, matinee game tomorrow afternoon for the Grizzlies in sunny Orlando. Game's going to be played inside, but at least it's sunny outside in Orlando. Now it's sunny outside here. That's good. Night game for the Tigers, one of only 2 Saturday night games all year, and the final one. That used to be a staple of Tigers basketball at the Mid-South Coliseum to play on Saturday night. Not as much anymore at the FedEx Forum for a lot of reasons. The TV contract, mostly afternoon affairs, and the Grizzlies a lot of times have the building on Saturday night. The crowd's going to be lean tomorrow night. We know that with all the people battling with what they're battling. And for this team this year, I didn't think we would be here, but we are. It's a must-win over UCF.
Everything forward is must-win, Brett. In all reality, that's it. That's the position they've put themselves in.
Not top story of the day.
Not top story of the day for me has to do with the MLB. And I say not top story, although this was the best news I've heard today first. Joe West is retiring. I'm so glad to hear that. I don't know what the deal is, Brett. Why does everyone have to act like Joe West was some legendary figure? And I know he umped the most games, but I never liked him as an umpire. He was always terrible. He was miserable, and now we have to talk nice about the guy?
You know what I say about Joe West in retirement? Don't let the door hit you.
Brett, I couldn't stand the guy, and everybody wants to talk nice about him now. I don't get that. And whenever you talk...
Not going to be phony.
And know what's bizarre?
Couldn't stand him.
What's bizarre, too, is like the former MLB players, when they talk about Joe West, their first sort of interaction with him is always terrible. They, hated it. But then all of a sudden they become friends with him 10 years later, and they act like he's the best guy ever. I don't understand it. Thank God. Good riddance.
Hard pass.
Good riddance. But also the MLBPA and the MLB and their negotiations. The MLB...
They had a hard pass, too.
The MLB wanted to get federal mediation in the negotiations with the union, and the union said no. And the MLB released a statement saying, we want to do everything in our power to make sure that we can negotiate fairly and evenly and find a good, even deal for both sides. I don't believe you. I mean, both of you guys are trying to get over on each other. You guys have all bad blood.
How much of the year do we miss? Give me a percentage.
You know what? I honestly think it's too early to make a educated guess on that.
I say 25%.
I
take a stab, Gabe. You're not going to be held to it.
I'll say 40%, 40 to 50%.
100%.
You think 100? You think it's done? You think there's no chance there's a
and if it is, if it's 40%, it needs to be 100. If it's a day, it needs to be 100, and if it's a year, it needs to be 2 until they get it fixed. And a lot of that is the elimination, the contraction of at least 2 to 6 teams.
I love the MLB trying to act like they're trying to negotiate in good faith. You guys, neither side has ever negotiated in good faith. Don't try to put out a statement to act like that's the case.
I'm more pro-player than I am pro-owner, though.
Yeah. The owners are filthy, stinking rich, man. Filthy,
and a lot of them
rich.
just hideous in their behavior. My not top story next week is Super Bowl week. Speaking of hideous and owners, Stan Kroenke's grand plan, his dream, it's really coming true. He's the host with his team in the game. I guess it's always good to be worth $10 billion. That means, wrap your arms around this. It's hard for any of us to imagine $1 billion or $10 billion. Wrap around this. He could lose $9.1 billion and still have $900 million.
How about that?
I didn't need to know that.
I didn't either, really.
I don't like that guy. Also, shave the mustache. Mustache is terrible.
Yeah, lose the mustache.
One of the worst mustaches
Stan's
in
whole
the
act's
history.
bad.
Oh, it's terrible, man.
But great name. I mean, his parents, Stanley Enos Kroenke, named after Stan Musial and Enos Slaughter. What a great name to be wasted on that.
That'll do it for Top and Not Top Story of the day. When we come back, we talk with Alan Bell from CBS Sportsline on some gaming. Got to talk about the Super Bowl, what we're looking forward to past football season, past the Super Bowl, and also is Aaron Rodgers going to make it to Nashville this offseason? We'll talk about that when we come back on Sports 56 98.5.
Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio, presented by Tito's Vodka, from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Whether you have college experience or just a high school diploma and 2 years of work experience, apply today to become a Memphis police officer. To become the best in blue, you'll train at our nationally recognized academy, and you'll receive a $15,000 sign-on bonus and up to $10,000 relocation assistance. A new era in public safety starts with you. For more details and to apply, visit joinmpd.com.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Get it? Text a message, I don't know the number. Flexing on these
Rolling on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats on a Friday. Autos on listener line 901-360-8255. You can also message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. No, 30% of the city is still without power. Stay warm, stay safe. We'll see when it comes back on. We'll give you any updates we can. But for right now, we'll bring on Alan Bell from CBS Sportsline on some gaming. First, Alan, I have to start here. How bought in are you to Aaron Rodgers to Nashville? And if he does come to Nashville, which country singer does he need to have a fling with?
Ooh, okay. So that's a great question. All right. So, yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers will be here, with the city. But in terms of, which artist, I mean, somebody put on Twitter Taylor Swift, like, that's the easy go-to.
But that always ends bad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's what it's going to do. Like, it's definitely going to go bad. Look, I see him going, like, the 90s route. Like, he just pops up with, like, Martina McBride out of nowhere. And you're like, where did this come from? You know what I mean? Like, he would definitely go, like, A-list, but not who everybody thinks. Like, he's not going to go, like, the 24-year-old, artist or whoever. Like, he's going with a classic A-lister.
See, I can dig that because the Taylor Swift, I saw that same tweet. And I just can't do that. That's not good for Aaron. I've seen the All Too Well music video and then whatever the short film to follow. I mean, that was from, 10 years ago? She holds grudges, man. She is
Here's
nasty.
the question. Guys, let's ask the question, the obvious question. Why does it always end so bad for Taylor?
Great question.
It is, right? Look, it is. And you're right. First, like, that relationship would last 10 minutes. Like, it would be finished immediately.
What a 10 minutes, though.
Yeah, you're right. And two, look, at some point, you got to start looking in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like, if it happens
we got to assess
time,
this.
whatever. Yeah, if it happens once, whatever. If it happens 3 times, it's probably you.
I mean, end up in John Mayer lyrics, kind of a duet with John Mayer, and it didn't end well there. And it's always something. Cher and Greg Allman were married for 10 days, and I've always said that's the 30 for 30 I want to see on those 10 days.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, and it's like being like, if I'm playing left tackle and the quarterback just continues to get hit from the blind side, it's probably me. Right? Like, I'm probably the problem here in this equation.
You know what?
I mean, bring a fullback in to chip the defensive end coming so hard off the edge like that.
I really wanted to talk some sports betting, some gambling, but I think it would be better served if we use this segment to talk about Taylor Swift and her previous relationships. I like this. I'll tell you what. No, but seriously. Before we get to any Super Bowl talk or anything like that, I know you've had some sort of college basketball plays you guys have been putting out at CBS Sportsline. Are there any trends you're seeing, and what do you like for this weekend?
Yeah, trends, tough to find because we're getting into not only, deep into conference play, but you're getting rivalry games now too, right? So you just got to take it game by game.
Right.
As for tonight, rolling with the Richmond Spiders -3 against St. Bonaventure. We've been playing kind of these smaller schools a little bit the last few days, and they've been cashing nicely. I'll tell you what, the trends to look for are, against the spread at home and against the spread on the road. And I know that it sounds simple, but use that right now because, it's not like the NBA where you can rest players, early in the season. Like, these guys are probably a little gassed, man. Like, they've been going, for a little while now. So, literally, home, road, ATSs, like, they'll give you your best look. It lasts, 3 games in terms of, points per game that the team is scoring. That'll give you a good look, too.
Here's one tomorrow. Classic trap game after all that went into hosting Texas and Chris Beard and Texas Tech delivered. Now tomorrow, got to go on the road to Morgantown, play Bob Huggins and press Virginia. West Virginia hosting Texas Tech. That feels like one perfectly made for Bob Huggins.
Yeah, it does. You're right. Like that's a good spot for them right there, and especially with them coming, off of that loss the other day to Baylor. In terms of where West Virginia put up points, like you're right. Usually their games, pretty low scoring. I think they went to about 158, against Baylor, both teams. So yeah, I think that's a great spot to look at right there.
Talking with Alan Bell at Alan Bell 247 on Twitter. So Alan, I was when the Bengals actually beat the Chiefs, I was amazed. Well, they got to stop in overtime, so nobody complained about overtime. Surprise, surprise. But Bengals are the most surprising Super Bowl team since who? Honestly, when you look at sort of the underdog mentality they came in with, 10-7, barely winning the AFC North. Since who?
Does Tampa Bay count from last year?
Yeah, it's tough to put Tom Brady in that category.
As a surprise, yeah.
Yeah, they remind me of, that Ravens Flacco team.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of come out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, this team's actually good because they're so balanced that they don't necessarily put up a ton of points on you. And it's not like, they've got that smothering defense where you can't score more than 3, right? But they're just so balanced that all of their games are falling into this, 23-17 style of play, and they're doing it over and over and over. And then also, they might have the best kicker in the league. That's kind of how Justin Tucker and the Ravens came about. I think that's my answer to that question. That's a great question, man.
That is a great question, Gabe. I think my answer is Giants 07, their first one, Super Bowl 42. Not only did they kind of barely make the playoffs, it was mostly defensive line driven. Eli had his moments, but then for them, they closed that year out by losing narrowly to the Patriots, and that kind of kick-started them. And for them to derail 19-0, this may be the biggest shocker since then. But they had a bigger league-wide presence at quarterback in Eli Manning than Joe Burrow is right now.
Yeah, I that's a great answer. I wouldn't argue against that one whatsoever. You know what I mean? And yeah, we all knew Eli Manning, who he was, obviously, but, that was his first Super Bowl, right? And it's that's when Eli Manning really became, that kind of NFL royalty. And if Joe Burrow gets one right now, this young, my goodness, man, this guy, he just doesn't lose.
Yeah, and the other thing that came out of that game for me, the Chiefs and the Bengals? What are we supposed to think of Patrick Mahomes? There were some plays in there, Alan, especially before half and then leading into overtime. The sack he took and the fumble, where there were some sort of suspect bad plays that he was making in that game.
Oh, good Lord, yeah. Everybody goes to the last play in the first half, and certainly understand, right? But again, it's one play. Who cares? And you're going into halftime. So it's all right, a team that's been to 4 straight AFC championships, 3 straight Super Bowls. Okay, yeah, it stunk. All right, we made a bad decision. Let's regroup. We're fine, right? No. It was the entire offense was done. You know what I mean? And it's not like their defense played terribly. They just played within the game that they normally do, expecting that their offense would score more than 3 points in the second half. I could not understand it. It legitimately was like watching a completely different team. It made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
It did, and I thought Zach Taylor kind of got the best of Andy Reid in the second half.
Well, he did, and he absolutely did. And it's there's something to say for this Bengals team that, it doesn't always look pretty in the first half, but they just kind of gather themselves and just continue to go. And I'll give you a little nugget here. They've played 3 playoff games, the Bengals. They've had 3 playoff games, all right? The last play for their defense in all 3 of those games was an interception. The Raiders, the Titans, and the Chiefs. All 3 of them, right? Like, they are playing a formulaic game on all sides. It's nuts. Like, they really are so balanced that unless you just come out and score 50 points, you're probably in trouble.
And that's a great point you make. What they did through free agency on the defensive side,
that's what I was
it doesn't get near the attention because of Burrow and Chase and Mixon and the offensive
Mike Hilton,
wizardry.
That was a heck of a signing.
Yeah.
And
Mike Hilton was a great
also,
signing.
I got to mention, even with them, and I know they have weathered the storm, but that O-line play makes me want to cry, Alan. Oh, my gosh.
Going to make Joe Burrow cry, too.
Joe Burrow does everything he can, but good Lord, they're bad. I mean,
he never finger points, though, does he? I mean,
At all.
He gets up a couple times. He would almost like, if you just hold him and slow him down a little bit before he kills me, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point here, right? Like, they got better against the Chiefs comparatively to the Titans because that was the worst performance of all time, right? Like, they're still not good at all. The interesting part is this, is that Joe Burrow this season is the best statistical quarterback in the NFL against the blitz because he's had to be, right? But he's become so good that he forced the Chiefs to legitimately Spagnuolo to say, all right, if you're gonna blitz me, I am gonna eat you alive. And the Chiefs didn't stop, and he absolutely did that. So it's fascinating. Like, you have to be able to get pressure with just your defensive line because the minute that you start bringing extra personnel, he'll cook you up.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing. The Rams' front 3 is absolutely good enough to get pressure, right? Like,
up
without
the middle,
having to bring
edges, all of it.
Yeah.
I love
like,
Jeffrey
they don't have to
Simmons.
bring extra guys. Yeah.
But if you like Jeffrey Simmons, let me introduce you to Aaron Donald.
Yeah, like, that's your game right there. And also, the Bengals ran on first down over and over and over against the Chiefs, and it didn't work, but they were setting something up for later in the game. They're not going to be able to do that into the late third quarter against the Rams. Like, they're going to have to stop that in a second because the Rams front is that good to stop you behind the line of scrimmage. And then you're stuck 2nd and 11, 3rd and 10, and I don't care who you are. You can't live that way.
Alan Bell, give us a proper, too, if you've got any locked and loaded that you think people should jump on now, because in a week after everybody goes through all the various stuff, the price might not be as good as it is today or into this weekend for the Super Bowl.
I've got you a couple right here. First one, I went through the last 7 Super Bowls, okay, and went and averaged out so many different stats just to kind of get an idea. The average amount of punts in a Super Bowl is 9. The number from Vegas, total punts in the game from both teams right now, is 6.5. Play that over for sure. And then the other one, opening drives in the last 7 Super Bowls. So, for both teams, so we're looking at 14 drives. They've ended in 9 punts, 4 field goals, and a Tom Brady interception. 0 touchdowns. So you could find really good odds on how a first drive ends. Field goal and punt, you're going to find plus value. So use those. Also, Odell Beckham over 23.5 yards on a reception. Yeah, because they're going to look at Cooper Kupp, and that dude gets his, but Odell Beckham's going to be open all game long.
I've been touting OBJ anytime scorer all week.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like, and another one, you're going to find good value even with guys like Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase. Like, you could parlay Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase both have a touchdown for like plus 250, right? Like, you're going to be able to find value like that.
Odell,
that's the definition of gambling, betting the over punts.
Guys, Odell looks like he's about to sign a nice little contract going into next year. I mean, he's proven himself.
Yes, he's absolutely proven himself, right? And if he has a big Super Bowl, absolutely. And the good thing about it is that the Rams, we talked about it in the last couple of weeks, they've leveraged all their draft picks, their first-round picks for the next, 4 years, right? So they don't have ways to go and say, all right, we're not going to keep OBJ. Like, we'll get somebody to draft. Well, good luck, because you don't have any picks. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to pay the guy. So, yeah, he could get some good money for sure.
Alan, it bothers me because I was a St. Louis Rams guy. And to see Les Snead decide to be aggressive right when he got to L.A.? I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah,
you had all this space and opportunity to try to make one move, and now you want to leverage off every bit of your future to go get every superstar in the entire NFL when you leave St. Louis. But yeah, that's just that's me being bitter. I have to get in one reference a week until the Super Bowl because I'm still bitter about the Rams moving to L.A. Alan, always appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
You can follow Alan on Twitter at AlanBell247.
And he'll be with us next Friday for side and total and all that good stuff, all the traditional stuff next Friday when we talk Super Bowl 56. This weekend, look, lights coming back on, or you're really tired and you don't want to do any of the cooking. You don't want to do anything but just kind of exist and survive. Let Jason's Deli help you out. This is the time to call them, let them set everything up for you. Dine in, to go, delivery, wholesome food forever. It's a family thing. They mean it at Jason's Deli, all these great locations. There's one very close to you. Locations on Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. All you workers out there, go by there to get something to warm up with, some of that great chili, all the soups like the chicken noodle, the tomato basil, fire roasted tortilla, all that food right now that'll warm you up some, and all the salads that are so good like the Mesa chicken salad, chicken club salad, my favorite, the taco salad, all at Jason's Deli, whether it's organic, plenty of organic food to choose from, trans fat-free food. It's all about choice, regardless if you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches. They've got it. You'll be delighted at Jason's Deli, and might not be thinking about ice cream today, but if you're inside and you want to wrap it up with complimentary ice cream, you know you can always at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova, and that great salad bar. Over 30 items just to choose from there. Catering anytime, anywhere. Super Bowl parties being finalized. Let them do it for a youth group, church group, scouting group, any type of group. Let Jason's Deli do the work for you for your big game event. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Tigers have had a 9-day layoff, and they play tomorrow at 7 p.m. versus UCF at home in FedEx Forum. It'll be on ESPN2 at 7 p.m. We will get you prepped for that when we come back. Stay with us.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world at sports56whbq.com or on the Sports 56 app.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk, chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with 12 bays for everything from oil changes to alignment to new tires. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Pick out your like new car or truck today. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner and right on the price.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. 603. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
I've been moving calm, don't start no trouble with me. Trying to keep it peaceful is a struggle for me. Don't pull up at 6 a.m. to cuddle with me. You know how I like it when you loving on me.
The Tigers will end their 9-day layoff, and they'll finally play a game versus Central Florida tomorrow at 7 p.m. And the last time these two teams met was in Orlando, and that was not a good game for the Tigers in any stretch, by any stretch of the imagination. They had just about everybody healthy, too. You talk about Jalen Duren, Amani Bates, and Landers Nolly in the lineup. They lost 74-64. And the reason is they let the guards for UCF get off. Darren Green Jr. had a heck of a game, 20 points. Darius Perry, their senior transfer, they let him get 11. So this is going to be a big challenge for the Tigers to sort of battle the distractions that they have had this past week and go beat a team that's capable of beating them.
I agree, Gabe, and it's going to be, I think, a really tough game for the Tigers. No point spread yet. We'll do Tiger bankroll. We'll do it honestly and tell people what we did on Monday with it, because not even the 1 o'clock game tomorrow has a Vegas point spread toast. That's between Tulsa and Temple. But this is not anything special Central Florida team. But the guards are decent. Now, they are competitive. They're decently coached. Yep. And for the Tigers, with this yet another layover, what an odd, disjointed year on and off the court for Memphis. Are you, Brian, are you going tomorrow night? Do you have duties? Are you working?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Gabe, are you going?
I'm going to try to be.
I was going to try. It's just too darn cold to fight it. And I know there are a lot of people out there that feel like that. You know, whatever the number is, the scan count number, announced number,
it's a tough weekend. It's a tough damn weekend. We're going to have people
folks
out of power still dealing
folks
with.
That had hot water in 2 days.
I was say people are still going to be dealing with outages and everything else tomorrow. The scan count is in my opinion, very irrelevant. Very irrelevant.
And tomorrow in the AAC, an interesting game between SMU and Wichita State. It's interesting because it's at Wichita State, and SMU can't get scratched up because they're right in there. Everybody, Joey Brackett's, our friend Shelby Mass at USA Today, Dave Allman, all the bracketologists. Right. They all have them in that mix of last, first, next, whatever. You know, so SMU can't get, and they're the hope for two bids.
They're the hope. And here's the other thing I mentioned the other day. SMU, the way they've been playing, you're talking about a team that's only lost one in conference. They're 16-4. I mean, they seem like a tournament team to me. They have Kendrick Davis. They have a guy who can score and fill it up, who would be good in tournament time. You have the guard play to do it. They're relatively well coached. I think that I'm not so worried about them being a tournament team. I think that if you're worried about getting a possible another bid out of the AAC, I wonder about Cincinnati. I wonder if they can make a run down the stretch of the season and sort of put themselves in that conversation. I know what the bracketologists say about SMU, but I just don't know how much this conference has the ability to scratch up SMU. I know that road basketball is tough, but I think SMU has the guys to sort of run through and be comfortable in conference.
I think I trust SMU at Moody, but after seeing them even in that game against Memphis, I thought SMU was really bad.
They were bad that night. They shot a terrible percentage, a very, very low percentage. But coming into Memphis and getting a win it's not the easiest thing to do necessarily. Now for the Tigers tomorrow, they're going to get one back. It's looking like Landers Nolly is going to play, but in all likelihood, you're talking about missing Jalen Duren, DeAndre Williams, and Amani Bates. It seems like a ridiculous uphill battle. It really is. You're going to have to get a whole lot out of Lester Quinones. You're going to have to get a whole lot out of Tyler Harris. You're going to have to make sure that Alex Lomax is not turning the ball over. And they haven't shown the consistency for me to believe things like that.
You got to keep Malcolm Dandridge out of foul trouble. He fouls a lot. The Tigers foul a lot. And doesn't it always feel like it works out like this? When you have that July, August, September booster scrimmage of how are we going to allocate all these minutes, the one ball, and you get down to the end of the year and you're looking to count on 5 or 6 guys.
Yep. And especially you're going to be without the 2 top 5 guys that you had reclassify. You're going to be without them. And the more I sit back and I look at this Amani Bates situation, I know we had a lot to say in the last hour of yesterday's show. The more I sit back and look at it, Brett, I don't believe that he'll be back. I just don't believe it.
No, I said we saw.
Now I will be
we saw his
pleasantly
last game in Tiger Threads.
I will be pleasantly surprised if he ends up on campus and playing for the Tigers again. I will be, but
and what a year for him!
It doesn't make sense. It's
an infected finger.
Infected finger. You're talking about a back.
That feels
issue,
like 3 years ago.
And you're talking about a back issue that supposed back issue that sprung out of thin air that you have to go get a supposed second opinion on. There's just so many layers.
Bad. Shot was bad.
There's just so many layers to this thing that it just.
And he would compound it. The shot would be bad, and invariably here comes the desperation foul from him.
Yeah, and I again, I feel bad. I really do. Yeah. Because I don't know if he was ever put in the role that was necessary for him. I don't know if he was ever sort of brought along fairly. They tried to throw him in there. You're the point guard.
A lot of people.
Yep.
You're the point guard. You're the guy that's going to handle our offense as a 17-year-old. I don't ever think that was fair, but we'll see if he ends up playing in the Tiger uniform again. My guess is no. I think Brian's guess is no. I would assume Brett's guess.
My guess is a resounding no.
It's no. But that'll do it for hour number 1. Hour number 2, we're going to be busy. Bring on Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet to start it. 4:30, we bring on Drew Barrett from ESPN Arkansas. Talk some SEC basketball. Stick with us right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Bellyacre's motto is City-Fied Farm Fresh. The goal is simple: provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the whole family. 2 great locations, Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Overton Square hours Sunday through Thursday 11A to 9P, Friday and Saturday 11A to 10P. Regalia Sunday through Thursday 10:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 10:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef. Sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere. The burgers, so good, like the Dare Ya or the Double Dare Ya, and the melt in your mouth. And you have to try the Voodoo Moo Moo. It is the quality brand the Bellyacres team has developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the city. The goal at Bellyacres, to become even more sustainable as they grow. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis, burger shakes and smiles at Bellyacres.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We've all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, that's not possible. There are aerial pictures that can be taken every 4 years that can be used to measure most buildings, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof or even if you need one looking at pictures that could be 4 years old. If you'd rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, give us a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best service we know how to give. 5S Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. 5S Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5S Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises. I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Rolling right along on a Friday on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Still have 120,575 without power here in the area. A little over 25% of the area is affected by outages. Stay safe, stay warm going into the weekend. I know there's a heating area that MLGW has set up. They're doing their best to try to get everything handled. If we have updates on it, we will keep you updated as we go along. But we bring in Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet, as we normally do at this time on a Friday. Bruce, how are you?
Good. I feel a little bit bad, though, Gabe. I'm down here in Florida. It's about 75 degrees, so I feel for you guys. We just come through Texas the other day. Even Houston was getting ready for some snow where we were at. But down here, it's nice, so I feel a little
Well,
We're
Bruce,
guilty, but
Thanks, Bruce.
That's why I'm here, though, Doug.
Gabe's been without power since about 9 o'clock last night, so he really appreciates you feeling bad down in Florida. Also, our friend Clayton Collier at ABC 24, who we had on last Monday, he's got a great picture right now on his Twitter feed. Well, it's a sad picture of a nice lady in Midtown standing in her kitchen with a limb hanging down in the middle of the kitchen.
It is. And it's weird, Bruce. I opened up today's show with it. Being from St. Louis and I have family in Chicago, various big cities. I'm not used to sort of an ice storm having this type of effect on a city. It's been interesting to watch. It is interesting to watch.
They were getting very worried in Houston, and I guess they got it in Austin yesterday, and they were really worried. But we got out of there, and we came down here, and I'm telling you, it's nice.
Great.
I'm sorry, but it's
Bruce,
nice.
It feels fantastic.
Bruce riding it out in Florida with the grandkids. Thanks a lot, Bruce. Called us Bruce checked in with us at the start of COVID from grandchildren's homes in Italy.
Yeah,
Traveler.
I did. That's right, February 2020. Yep, I did.
You sure did. Bruce Marshall, what a week. I mean, it's rough out there on a lot of fronts. You go through the news. You had the incident with the UCLA player last night leaving the floor at Arizona. You had the Rams 49ers fan interaction with a 49er fan lying in a L.A. hospital in a coma from being assaulted. A little over an hour ago, I'm watching the Paul Feinbaum show, and some moron from Mobile called in and threatened that if he ever got around Jimbo Fisher, he was going to strangle him to death. It's rough out here in sports. What's going on?
Well, it is, and Jimbo, and I trying to think. I think that was Lane Kiffin he was aiming at the other day when Jimbo was talking about all that stuff. But who knows? And also, listen, Brian Harson's got some issues with Auburn right now. Herm Edwards has got some real problems at Arizona State. I could see both of those unraveling within the next month. In Auburn ASU, that we may be at the carousel might not be done spinning in college football. And I would point out again, it's Auburn too with Harsin, so he better be careful.
And
Auburn, they always have a lot of booster involvement, and they fired Gene Chizik 2 years after winning it all. They've really gone round and round on coaches, and a lot of this, Bruce, is Nick Saban's driving us all crazy.
You're right, it is, and Gus Malzahn normally wouldn't have been fired there probably. But Saban has set the bar so high, and you look around. I mean, the only one who's been able to match him in the SEC lately has been Kirby, and he finally got over the hump against Saban in the championship game. But I think you could point to Tennessee and Florida, and Auburn, and heck, LSU maybe. These places now. I mean, there's not much. There always wasn't much rope for coaches there, but I think Coach Saban has changed the dynamics to the detriment of the extended, careers of some of these other coaches in the region.
And Brett and I discussed this earlier. Last time around when they were finding a replacement at Auburn for Gus Malzahn, Kevin Steele was a name that the boosters really wanted to bring in and bring up. They ended up going with Brian Harsin, but I'm telling you, it really feels like that's – you say it probably will unravel. I really think it will unravel soon, too, because of all of the allegations and what it could be. How much do you think Kevin Steele going into spring ball, this sort of late type of hire, how much do you think he'd be involved in this? And this could be his third stop in a week and a half.
It could. I think back to Harsin, though. And you think the two jobs, or the jobs that always seemed like would be better fits for him down the road, were Washington and Oregon. And those have both opened up in the last year since he left Boise. And they've both been filled now. So this is something, it's just sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for if you're a coach, and be careful on the moves, because we could, if Harsin, I've talked to Harsin before at Mountain West Media Days. I found him to be a very nice guy. So some of the stuff I'm hearing about him seems a little bit off base. But I wish, for his sake, he would have stepped back and said, you know what, I don't have to rush this. That right. Just seemed like an awkward fit. He would have been he's a Northwest guy, and Washington or Oregon would have been a great fit for him. They filled those jobs, though, since he left.
Of course, Bruce Marshall, Mr. College Football, out there at Mountain West Media Days, getting to know the people that he covers and he talks about in following Brian Harsin. Bruce Marshall, a guest of ours in this market for over 30 years now, from the Goal Sheet with us every Friday, and we so appreciate it. What a week for the NFL. The allegations from Brian Flores. Gabe and I have been consistent. While well-intentioned, the Rudy Rule has almost worked against some, and it's been patently unfair with others being used by it. Bruce, your thoughts on the week that was for the NFL and where this goes in the future?
Yeah, good questions there, Brett. And there's a lot to unpack with this. So we don't have a lot of time, so I'll try to get to it as much as I can. The one thing to remember at the start is I think Flores got dismissed from the Dolphins, mostly because he lost an internal power struggle with Chris Greer, the GM. That's really the reason he got fired. But, there's a lot of other things going on here. I am not a lawyer, but I do have friends who are lawyers, and I've had them take a look at a lot of this stuff and try to report to me what they're seeing and what they think. And their thought is this, that Harsin might have some ground here. He might have a case here. However, it's a very heavy lift to go the direction he's going, that this seems to be going, and to prove all the racist stuff and all that. It is going to be a tough lift for him in court to do that. Where he may have some room and he may be able to maneuver something is this, what you mentioned, the Rooney Rule, which is obviously, at least to me and most people, and I think you guys probably too, it's a very superficial, and very shallow sort of an answer on the NFL's part. That's been around for a while. And it's been around in the NFL since before, past 5 or 6 years after the Kaepernick stuff. Joe Lockhart being in the NFL office telling Roger Goodell how to react. The rule's been in there, but it's toothless. And there may be some statutes of the Civil Rights Act that the NFL has violated here, and that might be the legal room there for Flores to go after it on that front. However, I think there's something else going on here, and so do my contacts think this, because this is splaying off in a lot of different directions, and you look at some of the accusations that Flores has made. And by the way, they've set this up as a class action, so some others could join this suit. Don't be surprised if Hugh Jackson or some other coaches and others get involved in this on the class action lawsuit. We haven't heard. This has still got a long way to go. And we don't even know if it's going to get to court yet. In fact, the NFL is going to move to dismiss this, just like they've moved recently to dismiss the John Gruden lawsuit. And that would prevent the NFL from getting into a court and the discovery process where a lot of stuff has to be laid bare. They do not want to go there, but we'll have to see how that works out. Nonetheless, like I said, this is splayed in a lot of different directions. And the stuff about Stephen Ross and some of the things, I brought this up down in Baton Rouge this morning. I'm not sure I was able to convey what I was thinking to them, but the fact, Ross, and the fact maybe, $100,000 to throw games and whatever that was per loss, this looks like, and this my contacts say this too, this looks like there's something besides Flores involved here. That this looks like sort of a parallel hit on Stephen Ross, and beware that there are some, there might be something else attached to this, wherein this has become very political now, and there's people out there would love to get the NFL to claim an owner and to target an NFL owner and to move him out.
A Donald Sterling situation.
Right. Donald Sterling. And that is a feather in the cap for activists of that persuasion. And that's why they said this is far out of what you would normally expect a guy like Flores to do. Also, Flores, the what he's seeking here and the damages, we're not sure monetarily what he's seeking. Some of it is just remedies for the current situation there with the Rooney Rule and all the hiring practices of the NFL and things like that. But this could get really expensive. If this actually goes to court, the legal fees could really pile up without any guarantee, of what comes. I think this will get the NFL is going to try to do something. They're going to move to get this thing dismissed because they don't want to go into discovery, but they will do something. Roger Goodell will make some other attempt to pacify the stuff. The bottom line, though, is the NFL, listen, they've gotten very political about some of this stuff, and they've gone down that rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, you got to pay the consequences down the road. And I think that's basically what this is. This is consequences of NFL policy that has been skewed and off base from the start. And it was bound to happen at some point because the Rooney Rule, as good as it might sound on the surface, there's some flaws to it, and it
hadn't been practiced.
100%.
Flaws might be right here. Yeah,
you get token interviews. That's what happens. They decide on their guy, and they just bring in a minority to interview with no chance of getting the job. And it's terrible. It's absolutely awful. But then the question for me becomes, and this is what the NFL has to answer through this class action suit, if it does indeed get into discovery and all this other thing. What do you do to remedy it? Like, where would that start? Would that start in ownership?
See, there we go. You've hit the nail on the head there, Gabe. Because I think, what's the end game of all this? And is it an enhanced Rooney Rule? I mean, they've tried to enhance it already. I don't think that's the end game here. And that's why I am not convinced this is all Flores doing. This is designed to do something, to take out an NFL owner. This looks like a parallel hit here on Stephen Ross. And by extension, you remove him out. The Broncos have just gone for sale this week. I mean, there's a lot of activists that would certainly like to get certain people involved in NFL ownership. And they've seen the NFL fold up in the past and put pressure on them and see what they do here. I think part of this is just weak leadership in the NFL. And like you said, the Rooney Rule is never worked as they thought it would work. And it's very superficial, and in that, Flores might have some room to maneuver there.
But Bruce, there are 32 teams, 31 of them owned mostly by individuals. That kind of a front person. The Packers publicly owned by stockholders. You can have all the intentions of getting the people you want in, but they got to come with the checkbook. Because Stephen Ross is going to have to be indemnified. My starting number's $2 billion. For him to be made whole, to move out, pack his belongings, and get gone, and then somebody that's going to come in there, they're going to try to. I don't think it's altruistic. I think what they're going to do is try to do what they did to Donald Sterling, find a Steve Ballmer that'll pay double and make more money off of it.
What a punishment!
Well, this is why there's sort of a parallel thing going. They'd like to claim an NFL owner's scalp. And by the way, the sale. I mean,
and Ross is easy.
I mean, Denver's talking about $4 billion with a B. Mm-hmm. So I mean, there's not many guys walking around with that sort of money. So it's obviously going to be some sort of a consortium. But the people are trying to force. If it's what my guys think, the people that want this to happen would like certain people to be able to be in the consortium to buy. I don't think anybody. It's not going to be one guy coming forward unless it's Jeff Bezos to buy it for $4. It's going to be a group and a front person for the group, and that's why some of these groups in Denver are talking about including Elway and Manning. They're not going to be the money people for it; they just be included. By the way, Elway sort of got thrown under the bus here too by Flores.
Sure
so
did.
Bill Belichick. So and I mean, by the way, one other note: the Gruden trial. I think this is the other thing. The NFL had better worry about that. They're trying to get that dismissed too. There's not been a ruling on that yet, but I think there are grave consequences for the NFL there too, and I think Gruden might have a real case there, and these emails are not supposed to be made public, and the NFL has sounded very indignant about this. They better worry about that too if that has to go to discovery as well.
Bruce, I think it would be a fascinating book or story or big feature by one of the financial magazines or somebody out there. We always associate, and I think, and I'm pretty sure that he is, Jerry Jones, Cowboys, Arthur Blank, Falcons, Tepper, Panthers, Blank, Falcons, Arthur Blank with the Falcons. But a lot of these types, they're the front person. We know that George W. Bush didn't own the Texas Rangers.
Right.
He had about a 15 to 20% piece of them. Roland Betts, Tom Hicks, a lot of his buddies from Yale, a lot of Texas oil friends. They owned it. He was the front man to get the new stadium. That on the flip, on the sale of the team, the new stadium is where they all made the money. Years ago, I'll never forget, I go to a Titans game, and I came back with I went to a Titans-Steelers game, and I came back with a Steelers media guide, and I asked the late George Lapidus in the studio, right here where we are. There was on about page 10 of the Steelers media guide was a headshot, a full page of headshots of minority interest owners. In one of them, is the Haslam that owns the Browns. I said, is that son of Big Jim up at Tennessee that we know by and large runs Tennessee Volunteer Athletics? He said, yes. I said, I never knew anybody but the Rooneys owned the piece of the Steelers. Very few of these people own lock, stock, jock, and everything, do they?
You're right, and the Hallises and the McCaskies don't own all of the Bears either. I mean, old man McKenna owns 10, 11% of the Bears. So I mean, most of these are. But in the life is not fair department, just one parting thought here. We mentioned the Broncos for sale. You talk about a lucky bunch of people. These are the Bolin heirs who have been feuding about control of the franchise. And by the way, the NFL, they were a couple of Pat Bolin's daughters from his previous marriage were suing, and the NFL has been tolerant of this Broncos situation for several years with the trust owning it since Pat Bolin became incapacitated, then he died. But they were supposed to go to court last year to fight this out, and the thought is the NFL really leaned on the Bolins and told them, no, you're going to sell the franchise now, which they have the power to do. So that was kind of subtly done, but you see Denver hit the market this week. But the unfair life is unfair department, or fair if you're one of the Bolins, while they have been dithering the past 4 or 5 years, and a lot of people have wanted this to get sold in Denver for a long time because the franchise has been run poorly since Mr. B became incapacitated. The franchise has gone up the last 3 or 4 years, probably double in value. If they were going to sell this thing in 2017 or 18, maybe $2 billion. Now they're talking about $4. You're talking about a couple years because they've been dithering so much. The Bolin heirs are going to get rewarded an extra, maybe $1.5, $2 billion with a B dollars. You talk about the life is not fair department and being rewarded for dithering and messing things up. There you go.
I know.
Trust fund remains undefeated.
I know money and family don't always mix, but how could they not just figure it out? Just somebody take over, somebody
the
be
key
the lead
part
on
there
this.
Was two different mothers. That was the key part, wasn't it, Bruce?
Yeah.
Well, and I think as a good an owner as Mr. B was in Denver, and he was a great owner, he didn't set this thing up nearly well enough upon his passing. And certainly, like other situations, he never let any of his heirs.
Tom Benson did the same thing, and the evil stepmom got it all.
Yep, there you go. And at least Ralph Wilson in Buffalo, who didn't have any direct heirs, by the way. I mean, it was he sold the franchise as soon as he passed. The Adams family, I mean, Bud Adams' offspring, they had some fights with the Oilers and Titans too. But the Bolin family, this was really bad. At least Jerry Jones and the Rooneys and the Maras and the Giants, at least, I mean, the family has been involved in the business. Jerry's daughter and son are pretty sharp, you know.
Both sons. Both sons,
and
Stephen and Jerry. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but he's given them positions of responsibility. Mr. B never did that in Denver, and it just looks like a food fight among the kids, what's been going on. And the NFL, you know, they tolerated this for long enough, I think. But this has been going on too long in Denver. Yeah.
Didn't Virginia McCaskey fire one of her sons because he was just so inept he couldn't string paper clips together?
I think so, yeah. And, well, we remember when Carl Rosenblum passed, and then everybody thought his son was going to get the Rams. Nope, Georgia got it. And then she fired Steve, who was Carol's son, a couple months after Carol passed. So, I mean, it was this strange stuff goes on with these families. It really does.
Well, it does, and you remember the owner once upon a time, I can't remember the first name, last name, Brayman with the Eagles. He got drunk and lost the Eagles at a casino in Atlantic City.
Well, Norman Brayman, Leonard Tost was the one who was who gambled away, and Brayman bought the Eagles from Tost.
I got you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tost.
Sorry to Mr. Brayman. I got who got drunk wrong. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, Mr. Tost. who, by the way, was ready to move.
You got to get to lose the Eagles.
Where did they? Was it? How did this
right
go
after
down?
AC Open? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he did. I mean, he used to say, you talk about the worst gambler in the world with Mr. Toast, but he was ready to move the Eagles to Phoenix. And anybody remembers the old vet before they tore it down? For a while, they built another near the top deck, a whole bunch of private suites that was in reaction to Mr. Toast threatening to move the team to Phoenix. And then he sold to Mr. Bremen not long after that. But yeah, listen, the NFL collection of owners, we could write a book about them too. It's a very interesting and not all above the board bunch.
Yeah. No, it's not.
And we don't have a whole bunch of time, so we're going to have to get to the Daniel Snyder stuff a whole different day. But we were also going to have to get the Super Bowl another day. We have a whole
next Friday
week,
we will.
So, what is the Bruce Marshall Gold Sheet college basketball play
Funky
of the weekend
Friday
or
pick.
the day?
We're ready.
Well, let's look tomorrow. And there's a couple good ones. By the way, this Kentucky-Alabama game really has me interested. Because there have been times this year, and Kentucky's moving up in the rankings, and I think they have. Look, if you look at the game against the North Carolina game in December, the Tennessee game earlier in January, and last Saturday in the Big 12 Challenge against Kansas, they've looked like the best team in the country. Certain days, they also lost to Notre Dame in a few other games, but they get Alabama tomorrow. You talk about the schizo team of the year. These guys beat Houston, they beat Baylor, they beat Gonzaga. How could you lose to Georgia if you beat those teams? I mean, that's physically impossible, but that's what happens when you shoot a lot of threes. I'm very intrigued about that game tomorrow, Kentucky and Bama. I think it's the best game of the day. One other one, North Carolina Duke is all of a sudden kind of interesting again. These are the top two teams, I think, in the ACC that may have something say more about the ACC this year, because I'm not sure Carolina is that great. But Hubert's got them playing better. And the angle I'm going to look at here is going to be over the total. They have been really higher scoring games the last couple of years. And North Carolina's defense leaves a little bit to be desired, but Hubert's turned this around a little bit. They've won 4 in a row since that Miami beating. I think you're going to have a real shootout tomorrow at the Dean Dome. A lot of points, North Carolina and Duke.
Bruce, where do we find more of you?
Thanks, Gabe. Check us out online at goldsheet.com. We will have that Super Bowl issue next week. I've already got the write-up, but we'll wait till Friday to talk about it. In the meantime, basketball issue every day and picks up there, basketball, hockey, you name it, and football next week. Goldsheet.com. My picks are up there. They're also at Vegas Insider and DonBest.com.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, Bruce. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you next week.
Good luck this week, Bruce, and we'll talk next week.
Absolutely. We're going to go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we have Drew Barrett from ESPN Arkansas. Actually joined Drew earlier today. Drew had the studio all to himself. We talked about a whole lot of things, but we'll talk to him about SEC basketball, about the Hogs coming up on Sports 56 98.5.
You have opinions?
Well, you gotta have an opinion.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Thank you, Brett. We are here and we're making it. I have to say a big thank you to all of our customers that ordered food during the curbside days, bought gift certificate when times were slow, ordered food to be shipped from our shipping kitchen, and then came back down to eat when our doors reopened. We owe a debt to the Memphis and surrounding community for supporting us when we need it. I hope y'all all come eat some barbecue with us, but I also hope you'll support our local restaurants. And if your service is a little slow or an item isn't on the menu that you enjoy, cut them a little slack. Hopefully it'll be there soon.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you for feeding all of us, and we will take that advice to heart.
Brett, we also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commission, sales leads, and a great place to work. If you can sell, let us know today. Send your resume to jobs@flynn.com. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flynn.com. Start your great career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
Valentine's Day is almost here, and you know we have a tradition of going to Dinstall's, and we're doing it again this year, but virtually. We will be giving you 14% off on February the 8th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. if you go to Dinstall's or call and order your chocolate-covered strawberries. They're back. Head to Laurelwood, Germantown, Collierville, downtown, or where they make the candies. That's Pleasant View. Say Sports 56, and on February the 8th, get 14% off at Dinstall's.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
We bring on Drew Barrett from ESPN Arkansas in just a moment, but we just got an email blast from the University of Memphis, and they're doing a classy move. We know there's a lot of people with power outages that are trying to stay warm during these trying times. It looks like the University of Memphis is trying to help them.
Yeah, so just came out, an email just sent out. It says, I'll just read a little bit of it. Following the week's winter storms, Memphis Athletics is offering a free ticket to Saturday's men's basketball game so fans can warm up at FedEx Forum with fellow Tiger fans.
Great idea. Great. Why not?
Very classy, and also it sort of tells me that they're expecting these outages to last quite a while, maybe through the weekend. So,
yeah, they are. We're braced for it. It's going to be a rough weekend. But if you can, very nice of the University of Memphis, and why not? I mean, tomorrow night with the week everybody's been through, that'd be a lot of fun.
It's very well
done. That is sharp.
When also you think about it, I mean, if your power's out, you can't watch it on TV. So if you're planning to watch it on TV, might as well just go there and still see the game.
Right.
That's right, Brian. And look, they're doing a really nice thing. I wish they'd opened the doors a little earlier than an hour before tip, just when people could get down there. And now that puts a lot of pressure on the FedEx Forum staff. So again, I understand there's a lot of moving
probably
parts
a lot
there.
without power too. Right?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Let's bring in Drew Barrett at DBarrett36 from ESPN Arkansas. Drew, what's happening, man?
Hey, Drew.
Hey, Brett. Hey, Gabe, Brian. It's good to talk to you guys. Nothing much attached to just trying to survive the natural states version of the snow apocalypse that's been ravaging the Mid-South the last couple of days. Luckily, though, here in Fort Smith, no issues of power outage. I haven't lost power. Nobody that I work with has lost power. We, unfortunately, got a lot more icy roads and heavy snow than you guys did. And they just want to, I've been in contact, not only with my family and my girlfriend back in Memphis, but friends. And I haven't found a single person that hasn't lost power. So I just want to, send my thoughts and prayers to the Memphis community that is dealing with all the power outages right now. Hopefully, MLG&W can get it all situated and worked out, and we can get the heat back on before the cold turns to the worst.
And I was lucky. I mean, 9:30 p.m. finally hit last night, right when I was about to watch some games, sit down, really enjoy myself. And It goes off me. Y'all just had sort of snow, though, right? That's more of what y'all were dealing with.
Yeah, so the way that our situation kind of worked out is I had the freezing rain. But fortunately, it's not a lot of freezing rain. I'd say only less than half an inch of an ice sheet on the road, and then pretty much about a half to I'd say more closer to an inch of snow is what we dealt with. So I had a lot less frozen rain than y'all did. Roads were a little iffy yesterday, but for the most part, it's been pretty safe and smooth running around here.
Yeah, Drew, in that area of the state, especially north of you as you get into to Fayetteville, Rogers, Springdale, Bella Vista, Bentonville, that area, they're a little more equipped for it. They have a little more budgeted for it, and they encounter this a lot more than eastern Arkansas or Memphis or DeSoto County does.
Oh, they do, and they do a very good job if it's kind of planned out. My father was actually on a business trip to Fayetteville a couple weeks ago, and in the middle of the week, there's just this freak snowstorm. It only lasted a few hours, actually, just north of the tunnel. And I decided I was going to go up and eat lunch with him or eat dinner with him that night, and got literally it was 60 degrees in Fort Smith, got through the tunnel, and it dropped down to 25, and it felt like I was driving through a blizzard. So I had to turn back around to get to Fort Smith. Yeah, from Fayetteville to Fort Smith, normal traffic, about 45 to 50 minutes. It took me about 2 hours and 45 minutes to get back down I-49. So as long as it's planned for and people know that it's coming like this was, they do a great job.
Tunnel pretty cool to drive through, though, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's quite pretty. Quite pretty to drive, and I'll be making it again tomorrow to go to the state game.
Now and tomorrow for the Razorbacks, here they come. Starting that March, the Hofstra game being put in the rearview mirror, they're winning games. And this week, and it's kind of how anomalous and really fractious that the net that it is. The Arkansas was making that slow climb up this week, and then they beat Georgia and made the big climb up in the net. Drew, they're in good shape right now.
Yeah, they really are. And the net, while I prefer it over RPI and every other system that we've used to kind of rank every team 1 through 350 or however many there are nowadays, because we have 2 or 3 every single season, it feels like. I like the net, but it can be somewhat confusing of, just because you're winning doesn't mean you're going up because other teams are winning or the wrong teams are losing. And it can be kind of confusing in that standpoint. But the matter of the fact that Arkansas is sitting here, 7-game win streak, looking to extend it to 8 on Saturday, and the real 180 that they've done in the last month. And you can actually say in the last month, because if you win 8 games, that's 2 games a week for 4 weeks. That's the actual calendar month. And the way that they've been able to turn it around and find it has just been phenomenal. I mean, you go back to probably one of the biggest games that plagued the Razorbacks for most of November and December and parts of January, starting out the SEC play with 3-point shooting. Well, they're just coming off of a game where they just shot 53.8% from beyond the arc and made 15 threes. Mm-hmm. But to start off the winning streak against Missouri, they were 0 for 15. And they've slowly been climbing that up as far as 3-point consistency, which has really helped them get some of the wins that they have. It helped them get wins against West Virginia last Saturday. It helped them against A&M, where you were able to make some timely threes in that overtime game. And it definitely helped you in the first half against Georgia, because when you're going to halftime 53-47, even if it is in Athens, there's a lot of question marks. And Eric Musselman even said so, and said he was glad the team was able to turn it around because he didn't know exactly where the weighted vests were. And with all the snow going on in Northwest Arkansas, if they could go find bricks, because it was about to be a real physical practice.
Now, they're tied for third right now in the SEC with Tennessee. And I think the first half of their schedule was pretty favorable for the most part, and they've won 7 in a row. Credit to them. But do you think third's where they fit in? Because you look down the rest of their schedule. You got Auburn coming up, at Alabama, at Mizzou, 2 games versus Tennessee, at Florida, Kentucky, LSU, all left on the schedule down the stretch. Do you think where they are right now is sort of where they fit in the SEC?
Well, this is just a part of the season, and we've known this since the schedule came out, that this is going to be where the rubber meets the road. This is going to be where you separate yourself from the men from the boys. And when you've got all the great competition coming up, one, it's going to make it for a very exciting February and early March. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Outside of Missouri and Florida, every game is going to be a must-win and a huge win. I mean, you pick up any of these games. We're talking at Alabama, on the road in the SEC against a team that has more top 25 victories than any other team in college basketball. Huge, even though they're not ranked. You pick up a win at Tennessee or at home against Tennessee. Huge. Kentucky, obviously huge. Auburn, huge. LSU still is a huge game, even though they're barely in the top 25 right now. So outside of Missouri, I think Missouri at Missouri is really your only cupcake game left. And I'm even counting this state game on Saturday because Arkansas lost the state earlier this season to start off SEC play. Now, it was about the SEC's leading scorer and somebody who I think it doesn't win it should be very, very close to winning SEC Player of the Year in J.D. Notae. So it's got to start. It's got to be game by game. And I think it's going to be fun just to see where they end up falling. And ultimately, if it's third, I think you take it. If it's fourth, even if it's fifth, I think that still firmly supplants you into the NCAA tournament. Now, you obviously don't want to go fifth, and you can't afford, to lose more games than you win here in this last month stretch of the season. But any win is a plus at this point.
And after Elite Eight last year, just go to the tournament this year, and with that signing class for next year, then Eric Musselman, he keeps it rolling, and Hunter Yurachek keeps it rolling, Drew. You look, everybody coming out of the pandemic, no crowds, lean crowds. You look what he's going to draw just the rest of this month with home games, a Tuesday night against Auburn. It'll be wingtip to wingtip out at the airport with all the planes coming in from Little Rock and across the state, and then a good Saturday crowd against Tennessee and Kentucky later than that. And then baseball coming up, Sam Pittman rolling. Hunter Yurachek has the Razorbacks back very viable.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I think the biggest conversation since the calendar has changed is how can 2022 be more successful of a season than 2021? Because you talk about starting out the year of 2021, I'd say getting to the Elite Eight with Eric Musselman and the Razorbacks basketball team. When you go on to baseball and the phenomenal story that is Kevin Cox winning the Golden Spikes Award and winning their first outright regular season SEC title and then winning the SEC tournament. Now, they got bounced in the Super Regionals, and I think that was very disappointing to a lot of teams, a lot of fans, because the expectation with Dave Van Horn and his baseball team, it's Omaha or bust. And ultimately, it's not just Omaha or bust. It's Omaha and don't go 0-2 in barbecue. You've got to win some games in Omaha.
Make noise.
You see where things play out. You got to make some noise, exactly. And then you move on to football season where Sam Pittman takes a 2-8 in a shortened COVID year team to a 9-4 team, and you win the Outback Bowl against Penn State. You beat your rivals in LSU, Missouri, Texas A&M. You take Alabama all the way to the wire. You play in what I think probably was the best game of all college football season last year in the 52-51 loss to Ole Miss. You factor in all of that. The real question is, how does this year top it? And, I think Dave Van Horn is set up to have another phenomenal season on the diamond. Obviously, Sam Pittman and his coaching staff has done a good job recruiting. With everything, you got KJ Jefferson coming back, a possible Heisman hopeful. I mean, the sky is the limit. And I don't think that this is Billy Goods that Hunter Yurchek, Sam Pittman, and Eric Musselman and Dave Van Horn don't plan on cashing out. They're not overselling. I think they're properly selling the products that they have on the hill right now in Arkansas.
And guys, on the football front in Arkansas, it cracks me up because I look at the SEC West, and everybody's making noise and being loud to the media except for Arkansas. Alabama, you have Nick Saban talking about Texas A&M and Jimbo. Ole Miss, you have Lane talking about Jimbo. Mississippi State, you have Ole Miss stealing some transfer portal guys, right? A&M. Jimbo, we know he's ranting. Auburn,
we get it, Jimbo.
Auburn, you have the Harsin issue that just popped up today. And I didn't even mention with Alabama, you have the Pete Golding DUI. And then at LSU, they're just LSU. Arkansas seems to be the most stable,
just going to work.
Stable offseason of anybody in the SEC West.
Yeah, I think that's just due to Sam Pittman's nature. I think he's more of a let me show you, not tell you type of mentality, and you see that on the football and on the football field and off. And I was pleading to Razorback Nation not to jump on the Auburn stuff today, not to jump on the Brian Harsons of, well, I don't like what he did, that he cheated, but elbow, wink, wink. I can't blame him, ha, 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 all this other stuff. And I tried to remind everyone, it hasn't been that long since Chad Morris, and people are laughing and pointing at you. It hasn't been that long, Brett, since the motorcycle accident.
There was no motorcycle wreck.
Because you never know when it's coming back.
Air quotes.
That's right.
Air quotes around motorcycle wreck, right?
There was no motorcycle wreck.
And Brett, you mentioned that the other day. What goes around comes around. So if you're
Usually
talking about
in a
somebody
hurry.
else at this moment, you never know what's going to come back and hit you, because that Harsin stuff is real tough. And know who I really do feel bad for is the young lady, the woman involved in all this. That's, I mean, the amount of nastiness going around on Twitter.
Exactly. She's going to have to deal with this the rest of her life of people.
It's awful.
Whether true or not.
Of people making statements, and then, you feel like you finally get to know somebody, and they're like, all right, now really, like, did you do it? Were you with them? Like, come on, you can tell me. Like, she has to deal with that her entire life. These are
And Drew,
Brian Harsin has a wife. He has children.
Right. Somewhere sits her mom and dad having to view all this, and her out there as a pinata.
Mm-hmm. It's tough.
Exactly. And that's what I really just tried to get across to my listeners today. I know it's fun. I know it's easy to laugh at that rival school, that people that pointed and laughed at you when you had Chad Morris. But it's much better to treat others the way you want to be treated, because you never know when it's going to be you on the other side of that finger. And to just remember that these are people. While there's headlines to many of us, while they're water cooler conversations at work or just snickering blog comments to a lot of us, to them personally, they're people. They have feelings. They have families. And just try to, be a little nicer, basically, is what my message I was trying to get across today.
No question.
Good on you.
I feel you.
Good on you.
Drew, appreciate it, man. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great weekend, Drew.
Hey, I appreciate it. Y'all do the same. Y'all stay safe, and hopefully the power comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Stay warm, and two of my favorite words for you tomorrow: beach state. You got it. Drew Barrett with us every Friday afternoon at Gould Salon. It's the perfect time of year for them. Happy Valentine's Day from everyone at Gould's. It's that time of year when you need to get that special person a gift that they will love. And Gould's, they have you covered. A Gould's gift card, it's the perfect gift. The size is always right. It's the perfect gift for professional spa services and the best selection of exclusive hair and skin products in our area. Plus, they never expire. Go to any Gould's Memphis location and pick up a gift card for that someone special, or go to GouldSalonSpa.com to purchase online. That's GouldSalonSpa.com. Gould's a Memphis tradition since 1932, and it's exclusive to our area. 90 years of distinction, 300 associates making our area feel so good. The best holiday gift for any season is that Gould's gift card. And when I think of Gould's style this week, Gabe, I think of Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies and what they're continuing to do. I can't wait to 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon to see them against Orlando.
There's no question about it. What I think of is last night I was just watching the Pro Bowl Skills Challenge, which they brought back, and I do like it to a certain extent. But Micah Parsons, that's the stylish guy. You talk about what he did. He beat Tyreek Hill, Nick Chubb, and Trayvon Diggs in a race. As a rookie, he's an all-pro, likely defensive rookie of the year, and he's going to finish top 5 as defensive player of the year.
Do you come up with an offensive package for him next year, some plays?
You got to figure out something, and you got to think about where he's showing his style from DN, from inside linebacker, outside linebacker, covering a slot. He just does everything.
And who's he play for,
very
Gabe?
High level. You tell me.
Your Cowboys.
The D Dallas Cowboys.
On that note, let's get to a break. We'll come back. Sports 56, 98.5.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's a new year. That means it's time for a floor model sale at Family Leisure. You can help Family Leisure make room for all the new 2022 products that are coming in. All floor models are priced to move right now. If it's on the floor, it's on sale. But you better hurry to get these special savings because once these floor models are gone, folks, they're gone. We're talking theater seating, massage chairs, arcades, foosball and hockey tables, all on sale. Shuffleboard tables, pool tables, they're on sale too. Plus, there's so much more on sale. And you can get New Year's deals on spas and swimming pools as well. Family Leisure needs the room for new inventory. So what's here has got to go. You can help them. The floor model sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. Happy New Year from our good friends at Family Leisure.
Tired of waiting on your sportsbook? Waiting for deposits and withdrawals? No more waiting with Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello. I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
All right, now, I may be morbid here for a second. I may be.
Well, we have the music in the background
now,
for
here's
it.
the thing. Here's the thing. I know, anybody on Twitter going after the said woman, the allegations with Brian Harsin and everything else, that's stupid. That's ridiculous. Stop doing that to her.
Mm-hmm.
She is good looking.
It really
though.
is.
She is very good looking, though. There's no question about it.
You're
and I hate to be
absolutely
morbid
right.
about it. I had to point that out.
But you know who's become a real advocate for that? And she was not blameless in everything. But you follow the Monica Lewinsky story now.
Oh, God.
She really did. I mean,
put her through the
come out of
grinder.
that.
I mean, that's
with her sanity.
Well, debatable on that, right? I mean, she's a little,
but she's out
weird
there
at times on
in
Twitter and everything else. I mean, she wrote a book.
But the defense of the bullying and what she had to go through.
But no. I mean, all of the nonsense, and that's with the president of the United States. I can't imagine that. Brian Harson's a different conversation. It's similar because she's gonna have to live with that. But my God, could you imagine if we had social media at that time?
Oh, good
Lord. It would.
It would be because it was brutal enough just with the advent of the Drudge report. That story made Matt Drudge.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now let's get to something a little lighter. Now, All-Star reserves were announced yesterday.
I thought we were going to go to the death threat on the Paul Feinbaum show today for the lighter story.
You know what? Is that lighter? Is that lighter?
Well,
is that lighter, Brett?
Probably not.
Really?
I mean, just standard operating Friday afternoon at the Paul Feinbaum show. Caller from
I
Mobile.
didn't get to hear it. What exactly did they say?
I was watching it live. Caller from Mobile said he wanted to get it. He
wanted to strangle him. Basically, is what he said.
Did he say imagine or I can't remember the exact wording, but he's going to get his hands around Jimbo Fisher's throat and squeeze until he's dead.
Did they cut him off immediately, or did they ask? There was
they let him go.
Wait, I was just saying.
Hey, this is the Paul Feinbaum show, Gabe.
Was there a follow-up question? Did he get a follow-up question?
No, that's when Jeff Jarrett came out of the locker room and threw a chair over somebody's head.
All right, NBA All-Star reserves.
Let's do it.
In the East, James Harden, Jason Tatum, Zach LaVine, Fred VanVleet. Shout out Fred VanVleet, by the way. Fourth undrafted player ever in the modern era to be.
You think he ever calls Ron Baker, his old Wichita State wingman, even checks in with him anymore?
Are you talking about swoop hair Ron Baker?
They were linked together.
Man,
they were at Wichita State for at least 17 years.
Yes. Fred was. I mean, and I did not think Fred VanVleet would ever be in this position.
No.
And he
could ever crack a roster.
He can score at a ridiculous rate. He's been doing a good job with the Raptors. Jimmy Butler, also Chris Middleton, Darius Garland. First time nod for Darius Garland. He's had a heck of a year too. He's made that leap too. Most improved could be he could be in the running for that. Although Ja Morant's gonna. I mean. He's an overwhelming favorite because of the leap he's taken. In the West, Luka Doncic.
I didn't know that Ja had that much improving to do, though.
Well,
but he did.
Well, and the other thing, that the argument I would say with most improved with him, and any award he wins is an award he wins. Like, you shouldn't be arguing with it. Julius Randle won last year, so it makes sense. But I don't think Ja Morant has, like, from a game perspective, taking the leap. I think it's opportunity. The opportunity's opened up for him. He got taking more shots. He's taking more three-pointers. He has to do more. And I think that's sort of...
Well, that three-point shot is coming along a long way.
But you know what helps with that?
More
is putting more up. And I
100%.
think that's helped him drastically.
Wait until Ja's three-point percentage just improves 2 percentage points. And wait until his free throw percentage improves 2 percentage points.
Mm-hmm.
What that's going to do to his scoring average.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But he's up around 34,
that was almost new math I just threw out there, wasn't it?
Easy for me to say, huh, Brian?
Yeah.
Also in the West, Luka Doncic, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, Draymond Green, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. Draymond Green is going to have to be out, so Adam Silver is going to find a replacement there. And
could it be?
I believe with the starters, Kevin Durant is going to be out, so they're going to have to pick a replacement there as well. Yeah. What are you saying for could it be?
Could it be Jaren sneaks in there?
That's tough for me to think about. I don't know about that one yet. It's a possibility.
It's sure
That's what all the talk on Twitter's been.
Well, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
What the Twitter break room says.
Brett, the one snub that I can't really get over. No Jaylen Brown? Really? 24 points a game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists per game, and he's not on an all-star list? And
did his team cost him?
Exactly. That's where I'm going. Team success should not be the measure of an all-star because Chris Middleton this year is having a down year. Not really playing that well. You're talking about 18 points per game, down with his three-point shooting under 40%, where he's usually at. And
always snubs, though.
Yeah, there's always going to be snubs. But we'll see. We'll see who they pick to replace Draymond Green. I'm very curious about that. We'll be back for hour number 3 on the other side, and we're going to start it with our man Jason Munz from the CA on Tigers basketball.
The global shortage on chicken is finally over, but there are still places that will tell you that it is hard to find, except for our good friends at Poultry Power. Poultry Power is currently delivering chicken in bulk to your home or business at prices lower than your local grocer or food distributor. Having a cookout or catering event? Tired of being told no by other food companies when you need chicken for your restaurant? Poultry Power can save the day. Visit www.poultrypower.org to place your order now. And remember, when others tell you no, Poultry Power has the power to tell you yes.
Hi, I'm Troy Fivesh, owner of Fivesh Roofing. Sunday, today and today only. And for the first 50 callers. These are things you will never hear me say in my ads. Because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you don't need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get someone's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or products? By overcharging you in the first place. That's how. 5S Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service, and I do it for a fair price, why would I need gimmicks? Best products, best warranties, and the best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. 5S Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5S Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5S Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Hi, everyone. Greg Gaston for FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. To celebrate, new customers can bet $5 to win $280 in cash on either team to win when you use promo code GASMAN when registering. You'll get your winnings in cold, hard cash because cash is always better than free bets. There's no better place to bet Super Bowl 56 than on FanDuel Sportsbook. Don't miss your chance to turn $5 into $280 in cash. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and use promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or over and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit is required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $280. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, I'm Tony Harris, former East High School and University of Tennessee All-American basketball player. As a former player, I assisted a lot of teammates into scoring points on the basketball floor. Now, as an experienced insurance broker, I assist communities and families with retirement, investments, college savings plans, 401k rollovers, and life insurance with living benefits. This past year, in 2021, my company, HOM Financial Services, put $10 million back into the communities of Memphis with our services. We have a team of licensed experienced brokers ready to assist you and your needs. Contact me today at 901-501-9343. Again, that's 901-501-9343 at HOM Financial Services. Let me, Tony Harris, assist you today.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Feels like forever ago we were sitting at FedEx Forum last Thursday night watching the Tigers defeat East Carolina that the Tigers have played since then. It feels like a lot longer than just a week and a day ago. The Tigers back in action tomorrow night. We talk about that and everything, A to Z, good and bad, going on with the Tigers program with Jason Munz on the beat for the Commercial Appeal. Oh, so well. We visit with Jason after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and it's our friends on Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales for that town and country experience you've come to know, love, and trust. And they are very, very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. Online at DeSotoAutoSales.com, where you can go and look at all those beautiful cars. And as soon as we all can get back out, you can pick one out online and go down there and buy that car from those nice people, where you are treated like family, but like a member of the family. Kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales. They care about your time. They know it's very valuable. We live in a world today that time really matters, and that's why they want you to have the ultimate car experience. Find the car you want, get credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're out of there in 45 minutes or less. It's a guarantee in time to do it over your busy lunch hour, like right now, before you can start your weekend. Visit them online at DeSotoAutoSales.com or call them at 662-890-7184. But better than that, head on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
We bring in Jason Munz, covering Tiger basketball for the Commercial Appeal at Munsley on Twitter. Jason, how are you, man? I hope you're braving the weather.
As best I can. I feel fortunate, though. I know there's so many people that are struggling right now with the weather and the effect that it's had on their day-to-day lives. There was about a 5-hour period yesterday where I was without power, and it was starting to get a little bit
chilly,
worrisome.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it clicked back on. So and we've been smooth sailing ever since. But
it's been rough, Jason. The Tigers are doing something tomorrow night, I think, that's just extraordinarily kind. Come on down, get warm. Tickets are free.
Yeah, right. They're giving away tickets at the in the lobby there. So yeah, to anybody who wants one, they can come get it. And I think that's a great move on Memphis's part.
Mm-hmm. No question. I honestly, outside of the weather and everything else, I think there's only one place to start. You've been in contact with Elgin Bates basically all week. You've been going back and forth, getting some updates on the situation with Amani. What is your feel on what is going on? Do you sort of believe him at his word that it is a back issue, or do you think there's something deeper there?
I think there's probably something in between. I know there's a popular sort of school of thought since this all came about earlier this week that Amani Bates' time in Memphis is up, and that this is for lack of a better term, a ploy or like a convenient way to amicably split.
Right.
Amani and the University of Memphis basketball team. I know that's, like I said, I know that's kind of a popular narrative right now among certain segments of the fan base and media as well. And I don't think that there's nothing to that. I do think I know for a fact that based on conversations I've had with not only people in the Bates camp, but also on the Memphis side, that there's some friction. Right. There's been some friction that's been building pretty much all season long for a variety of reasons, and it just hasn't been going well. All you had to do was be at the game last Thursday, the game that Brett was talking about a second ago against East Carolina, and glance over near the Tigers bench, and you could see Amani's dad along the base from his seat on the baseline, visibly upset with the way things were going in that game, and not from the team perspective. Mm-hmm. You could see, it was pretty obvious that he was upset. Yeah. So I do think that there is, there's that part of it. I don't think that things have gone well from according, if you're listening to the Bates camp, I don't think they are happy with the way things have gone. But I also don't think that there's nothing to this thing about him having a back issue. I was in Tulsa a couple of weeks ago when Amani took a hard fall during the game and laid on the floor like he was pretty much writhing in pain.
Yeah.
And it was legitimate. Like he eventually came back in the game and he played another couple of games after that. But I don't think that his back is 100%. Now, that being said, I think most people have health-related, physical-related things going on with most college basketball players at this stage of the season do. So, but, I'd take that for what it's worth. But, I think this is kind of a way to at the very least, let things cool off and maybe revisit. Both sides can either get together or not after a few days.
Jason, if indeed he's gone and his Tigers career is over, how does he? Will he? Is he obligated to? Or does anything NIL just cease? Does he have to reimburse anyone? Is it end with his last game? Do we know that? Or are we all still learning how all this gets sorted out?
I don't know that, and I don't know that anybody does outside of his camp. Those things are not a matter of public record, and this is such a very brand new frontier that we are dealing with. Maybe there's some sort of contract, and see. But here's the other part of this thing that we need to pay attention to. I don't think he has publicly. I'm supposed to keep an eye on all the players' NIL deals that they that are announced and that come about, and I have not heard of any public announcement of an NIL deal with him. Now, I'm sure there are some agreements in place. All you got to do is look at the fact that he gave a bunch of Michael Jordan / Nike brand apparel and footwear to his teammates earlier this week. That says to me that there's at least something on the table with Nike. But nothing has been publicly announced with him as far as an NIL deal. Now, if there is something in place and he doesn't play any more games, that would be something that is intriguing to know whether he would have to reimburse somebody or whether he'd be in breach of some sort of contract. Who knows? And how does a quote unquote injury factor into that? You can't control if you get hurt, right? If you get hurt and a doctor says that you're hurt, you can find a doctor that says you're hurt, then all bets are off, I would assume. But yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye on. That part of it.
Another thing and obviously this is one of many distractions that we've sort of seen all year with the Tigers, whether it's COVID, the Tennessee game getting paused, they're delaying the Cincinnati game. It's been a distraction every single week. Rasheed Wallace stepping away at a certain time. What's your feel of how the staff and how the team can respond from this? How do you think they're feeling about it right this second?
Well, they're athletes. They are the coaches and the staff members are coaches and staff members. Sports is just intrinsically competitive, and
right.
There's still a good chunk of the season left. I think we're a little more than. I guess we're about 2/3 of the way through the regular season, but there's still the conference tournament to be played. I mean, there's still plenty to play for, right? You still got to play Houston twice. You got quad one opportunities. As we sit here today, you've still got quad one opportunities at SMU, at Cincinnati. You're not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. The switch could get flipped and you could go on a run and, be the talk of the town again. Here in a few weeks. So I think, that would be, if I was in their shoes, that would be what I would be looking at right now. I'd be saying, we're competitors, man.
Minimum 10 games left.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So let's lace them up and go out there and make them like put everything that's happened already in the past. You know, we can't change it. It's happened, but we can sure forget about it and move on. That would be my approach, and I assume it's something along those lines as it pertains to the players and coaches too.
Jason, let me be clear about this next line of commentary from me. I'm joking when I say this because I've already said twice sincerely. I just think it's uncommonly kind, especially in the big business sports world we're in today, for the University of Memphis to open those doors tomorrow night for people to come to the game for free. You just don't hear that. But in the preseason, if somebody had told you the UCF-Memphis game is a battle for sixth place and there's going to be free tickets for any reason, would you have believed that?
Not in a million years, man. Like, yeah. I mean, like Memphis, it's just been a nutty year. I mean, like, and we're barely halfway through it. You know, I sit here and I think about that because we've had a lot of time lately without games to sit around and think about, you know, to just sort of take a breath and take stock of everything that's happened. And it's like so much has happened in such a relatively short period of time. It's really remarkable. And the fact that, yes, but like taking it a step further, here we are sitting in early February, and Memphis has a home game against UCF where, you know, you got the 6th and 7th place teams in the conference. But, like, there's a scenario where after Saturday, Memphis could be in 3rd place.
That's right.
They're a half game right now in the standings out of 3rd place. You know, I haven't done all the scenarios, but the fact of the matter is, Cincinnati's 5-3. They're tied for 3rd right now, and I forget who they're tied for 3rd with, but maybe Temple or something like that. So you know, yeah, I would think there's a scenario where Memphis could jump up a couple spots in just a span of a few hours on Saturday, and that to me is also that to me is just as crazy as
really
us sitting here talking about Memphis being in 6th place in early February.
Well, how many bids do you think the American has? I think SMU is putting themselves in that conversation. Is Cincinnati possibly, if they have a run down the stretch of the season, could they put themselves in at-large consideration?
Maybe. I don't know. I'd need to look at their schedule. I don't know how many times. I don't know if they've played Houston yet or not. And see, that's the interesting thing is I think, you know, Memphis might be in the best position of anybody, SMU, Cincinnati, whoever, because they haven't played Houston yet. Like, there's a chance that they could get 2 quad 1 wins right there. Mm-hmm. You know, of course, it's much easier said than done, but it's not impossible. They've got like I said, they've got a quad 1 opportunity against SMU. That's probably going to stay a quad 1 opportunity as long as SMU doesn't collapse. Cincinnati's currently a quad 1 opportunity. That road game, you hope that they can stay that can stay a quad 1 game, and so I think Memphis has more opportunity than people think to make up ground, and they might have, you know, I'd need to study the schedules a little bit more, but they might have the best opportunity of any team in the American to make up ground. I'm not convinced that the American, though, as we sit here today, is more than a one-bid league. Mm-hmm. I think SMU's on the outside looking in. Certainly Cincinnati has not done enough yet. Houston would be the only team right now to get in if the season ended today. But SMU, you know, SMU could play I could see them, you know, if they finish strong and they don't lose at home to Memphis and, you know, those sorts of things, they could certainly play their way in.
And because of the missed games from weather to Omicron to whatever, except for a couple of Fridays, maybe most Fridays between now and the conference tournament, there's an AAC conference game almost every day on the calendar the rest of the way because we got to get them all in. Today is February 4th, and the conference tournament starts on Thursday, March 10th. It's simple math. We got to get a lot of games in.
Yeah, and like Wichita and SMU, you're talking about having trouble getting games in. They were supposed to play earlier this week. That got bumped because of the winter storm. That got bumped to tomorrow.
and I follow the SMU beat writer, and he was tweeting just earlier today that the game is suddenly in question because I forget where the game is, but one of the
Wichita?
two teams was so SMU was not able to take off when they were supposed to take off earlier today, and so even the rescheduled game was potentially going to be postponed, but update that has been solved. SMU is going to get, it's just travel takeoff has been delayed just by a little bit, but they're going to get there and they're going to play tomorrow, assuming everything goes well between now and then. But yeah, it's been, these games do have to get in, and there's not much time to do it. So yeah, it's
and right now, if they can't get out of Dallas, you're not getting on a bus and getting from Dallas to Wichita because it is a skating rink.
Yeah, no, it's just been crazy the way these things have sort of happened just one after the. It's like, the sports world deserves a break at some point, and I don't know. But yeah, no, I think that game's going to get done, thankfully.
Meanwhile, Mike Oresco sits around, cashes his college football playoff check, and might get another Final Four check out of Houston. Get those checks on Cincinnati and Houston on the way out.
He might. Yeah, that's certainly true. But yeah, no, UCF. I was thinking earlier this week, a day or two ago, that the Memphis UCF game may be.
I was glad to see your tweet of UCF heading out of Orlando.
Right. They posted a tweet because I had the alert set, waiting for them to tweet out something saying that they may not be able to make it, but no, they look like they were ready to roll, and it seems like all systems are currently go for Memphis and UCF, which is good.
So what's the latest on the injury front? I know that Landers Nolly likely going to be back. Well, what's the latest with Jalen Duren, DeAndre Williams, and Jaden Hardaway?
Well, I think it's, I've turned into sort of this social media Sherlock Holmes,
right?
You have to kind of these days. And Memphis posted a series of photos on Twitter. It looked like one of them was Lester Quinones, one of them was, I think, Penny, maybe one of them was Larry Brown, and the other was Jaden Hardaway. And it looked like he was warming up. It looked like he was participating in practice, and I thought that was a good sign. Earlier this week, Penny said that he seemed least optimistic about Jaden's status for this week than he did with any of the other three. And so I took that as a good sign that they posted a photo of him on the Twitter account. And then you go over to Instagram, where you can post more than 4 photos at a time, and they posted a photo of Earl Timberlake stretching, and you could see behind him, kind of blurry, but you could see that it was Jalen Duren also stretching. And so I think that is a good thing.
Love it, Jason.
I don't think it's coincidence that they're sort of teasing. They know what they're doing over there, and so I think it looks good for Landers, Jalen, and Jaden maybe. And Penny said earlier this week that he thought that DeAndre, he and Landers and Jalen Duren were all doing more as the days went along. So it seems like at the very least, Memphis will have Duren, Nolly, and Williams available, and possibly all 4.
Mm-hmm. He is Jason Munz, Tiger basketball beat writer for the Commercial Appeal at Munsley on Twitter. Jason, always appreciate it, man.
All right.
Be safe, Jason.
Okay.
Thank you.
Stay safe, stay warm. When we come back, we get to what's trending, and there's a whole lot as far as what is trending in the world.
There's a lot trending, and I was talking about the calendar that we're presented with for the AAC. It's all of college basketball. You're seeing every afternoon. I know, Bryant, you're following it. There's a lot of matinee afternoon basketball, and that Richmond game that Bruce Marshall touted earlier, it's playing right now on ESPN2. That's a pretty good game for a Friday afternoon.
I love me some A-10 basketball.
Nothing
Gotta love it, man.
And you go through the schedule, you see makeup from 2-3, makeup from 2-3. I mean, all these games, and we're not having I don't think any canceled again or postponed again because of Omicron. I think we are through Omicron. I think.
Yes. And there was
no epidemiologists, are we?
Yeah, I wouldn't say through is probably a little overstated, I'd say, but as far as the worst of it, yes.
Impact on sports.
Yes, I think we're moving in the better direction.
Yeah, if you're sitting at the hospital with it, you sure don't think you're through with it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. When we come back, we got to get to what's trending, and we have to discuss what's going on in the NFL. We have so many freaking cases going on in the NFL right now. We have the Gruden case, the Flores case, and Daniel Snyder, and what happened yesterday in front of Congress. We have to discuss that on the other side right here on Sports 56 98.5.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot & Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot & Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots & Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com today. That's BABBEL.com.
Folks are falling head over heels for these wheels and deals. Colin Johnston here from DeSoto Auto Sales, and it's the season of love. I'm on a mission to help you meet your match. So if you've fallen out of love with your old ride or other dealers have left you brokenhearted, we've got a solution for every situation. Low monthly payments? No problem. Low down payments? You could drive for just a couple bucks down. Trade-ins? We're paying way more than it's worth. And you could even lower your monthly payment in the process. My For the People credit approval process hooks you up with the banks and lenders who want to approve you. It's time to fall in love, Memphis, when you drive a nicer, newer car for less. I'm Colin Johnston, and I'm your dealer. For the People. See all the wheels and deals at DeSotoAutosales.com. That's DeSotoAutosales.com. Credit requires bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Vehicle purchase price determines actual trade allowance. For example, 2014 Ford Fusion 0 down, $264 per month payment at 5.5 APR for 72 months. Offer absolutely ends February 28th, 2022.
You want a silencer for your gun or rifle, but don't want to have to wait a year to get approved? With Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville, the electronic filing takes only about 90 days for approval. They do it all in one place with their state-of-the-art fingerprinting kiosk. And if you've never seen a silencer, they have over 100 in stock. So go buy Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville and get started on protecting your hearing with a silencer today. It also can help you reduce recoil and improve accuracy. Tell them Eli sent you.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Home stretch on this Friday afternoon. We head into the weekend. But we've got plenty for you over this next 30 minutes, so stay with us. We wrap it up with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But this weekend, here's the perfect thing for this cold weather. The Brunswick Stew at either commissary, the new Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. I am remiss. I don't talk about the Brunswick Stew enough. Try that in the cornbread. How great does that sound on this cold, very taxing week that we've had for everyone? and the commissary, they want you to come out and spend some time with them, either location, at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Try the barbecue nachos where they were invented in the early 80s, the smoked chicken wings. Drew Barrett, we had on about an hour ago, he just loved the smoked chicken wings. Every time we'd go there, he would get that as his entree. I've often done that with the tamales, all of it so good. The ribs, the shoulder, all the sides, beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread as well, and the party pack, 6-pack, 8-pack, 12-pack. As you're planning your big weekend next weekend, that big game party. I don't want to get anybody in any trouble, especially my friend Walker Taylor. So we don't want the NFL and Roger Goodell and his goons coming after Stewie Walker. So we call it the big game for next weekend. That's where you start the party. You start it with the commissary. The new Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown. Save room for dessert. Get that for your party as well. The lemon icebox pie, the banana pudding, all so good. 901-754-5540 or online at commissarybbq.com.
I love commissary, but I can't stand Daniel Snyder. That's all I'm going to say. Daniel Snyder, some of the stuff that comes out about him, and he literally evades it every single time. We know about the Beth Wilkinson investigation and the NFL sort of hiring her to do an investigation on the now Commanders, previously the football team. But Daniel Snyder, yesterday, in sort of relation to that investigation, 5 women appeared before Congress to detail their sexual harassment and assault. Tiffany Johnston, I mentioned it earlier in the show. It was
I watched
hard.
your testimony.
It was tough to listen to. I mean, it really was, because she was a little distraught about it. She's a former marketing and events director for the Commanders, and revealed for the first time that Snyder actually participated in sexual misconduct. Said he touched her without consent
at his home in Aspen on a retreat
during a work dinner, supposedly about 13 years ago, and then apparently tried to coerce her into going home with him before the lawyer had to step in. Daniel Snyder's lawyer had to step in and say, Daniel, this isn't a good idea. This is not a good idea. And absolutely. Now, also, some of the documentation that came out, Brett, is the more serious thing to me. And obviously, I'm not saying that the sexual misconduct's not serious, but some of the stuff, the NFL and the collusion that's going on behind the scenes, trying to hide some of this Daniel Snyder stuff, it's unbelievable. It's wild to me.
Roger Goodell better enjoy next week, because the off season's going to be tough stuff.
And I didn't know about this beforehand, but Congress and some of the stuff that was revealed showed me the NFL and the Washington football team. I'll call it Washington football team because I don't know if people are used to Commanders yet. But they entered into what they called
the Commanders. Almost sound like a new XFL team.
Yeah, there was a Commanders in the XFL, right?
Was it?
Sounds
or
familiar.
Commanders or the AAF? Or, oh gosh, I should know this.
The old
there was the
USFL had the Federals that Howard Schnellenberger left the U to coach.
There was a Commanders.
There was
Brian.
the San Antonio
Commanders. There you
go.
There's always a Commanders.
They were in the AAF.
Okay, the AAF. Now, the Commanders and the NFL entered into what they called a common interest agreement that served as a joint legal strategy, and they entered into this on September 8th after the NFL took control of the Beth Wilkinson investigation into the team. They agreed with this common interest agreement to not share any of the privileged documents or information exchanged during the investigation without the consent of both the NFL and Daniel Snyder himself. So based on this document, we know why we haven't seen the findings. It's because they need Daniel Snyder's permission to release them, even though he is fully implicated. I can't understand.
So he gets to be judge and jury.
I can't understand this, and you wonder why he evades it every time, because he gets to choose.
Well, I can't understand it, Gabe, because I know a little bit about that team and its symmetry with Congress, power brokers, political leaders in Washington. That's the company town. That's the team, and the company in Washington's government, political people. And their team has always been Washington, whether it was when Jack Kent Cook owned them or now for the last however long, 20-some-odd years, Daniel Snyder's owned them. And they don't want they don't want all those email released either, because guess who's going to pop up on those? Always wanting tickets and always wanting to sit in the owner's box, and their relationship with him. What if? I'm not going to use that comparison. What if Daniel Snyder also had some of them to some of the parties at his house in Aspen?
They should be implicated too. They should be punished too. There should be punitive damage for that too. It's not the fact that we're talking about a investigation. I'm using air quotes. It's not just a faulty investigation. It wasn't an investigation at all. This is what I would just call a legal maneuver. There was no part of this where Beth Wilkinson was going in there to try and get to the bottom of it. It was just to create the impression
of
an investigation.
That's Washington. That's a lot of their investigations.
Sick. It's sick because I really, Beth Wilkinson went in there to get to the bottom of it to report to Daniel Snyder in the NFL to basically help them with legal advice. That's what it feels like.
Think what a stable franchise. One of the real, power broker franchises under Jack Kent Cooke all those years, and they didn't have the RFK for as great a home field advantage that it was in almost a college type setting and a college type fervor around that team. It didn't make near the money that now FedEx Field makes for them because of the boxes and the signage and it being a more modern stadium. And for Daniel Snyder to just do a thoroughly horrible job.
Get him out of there. I can't.
He fired Marty Schottenheimer.
I'm done with
How
that.
dumb you got to be to do that.
I'm so done with dealing with all of this nonsense. Like I know it's not going away, and I know that they're going to have to deal with it in the offseason. But Daniel Snyder does not deserve this. His family, they don't deserve right now to own a football team and to be in the position they are financially, because he takes advantage of it. He evades it every single time, and it's just embarrassing that the NFL is colluding with him in helping his self-interest at this point when he has not shown any reason for them to do so.
We have Denver up for sale, as Bruce Marshall enunciated about an hour ago with us, and 15 minutes ago. Miami looks like it could come open. And if Washington has to hit the free market, it's just not enough people out there that can go buy.
No.
I don't know that any league can have 3 new owners in a 12 to 15 month period.
There's enough money and there's enough to go around. They can people pull their money together and do these things.
Do you want all of them though?
I don't know. Whoever can buy them and whoever,
because it's a
gets
club
them fairly,
and they want the right people in the club.
And that's the other thing is like the fact that Daniel Snyder has this team shows you that they don't do a whole lot of vetting for some of these billionaires that get in there and buy these things. So there needs to be in the NFL.
Bezos could buy the whole league.
Yes, he could, but the NFL is not going to vet these guys. Whoever has the money and forks over the money is going to get the team.
When Shad Khan's not the worst owner, ooh.
Okay, from a decision-making, well, okay. Okay.
He plays a home game in London every year.
Let me try to put this as gingerly as I can. From on the field and making decisions as far as GM and head coach and players on the field and everything else, he makes some of the worst decisions.
He really does.
Washington, the Commanders, while I think they've made some bad decisions recently, they at least have
they got a good coach,
a serviceable coach, a serviceable GM, and some serviceable players.
But look what the NFL did to St. Louis, what they did to San Diego. You could make a case, and I'm not just doing it here because it's here. What they did to Memphis, what they've done to Memphis, what they did to Memphis from about 1965 on. Gabe, did you know that the Hunt family wanted to move the Dallas Texans to Memphis and play 1 or 2 years at Old Crump Stadium, because Liberty Bowl Stadium, now Simmons Bank Field, it was on the drawing boards. It was going to be open. They would have to play a year or two there. They were still in the AFL, and Memphis political leadership blocked the Chiefs from coming here.
Oh, my gosh, wow. I mean, you could think about the history you could rewrite if that didn't happen that way. My gosh.
And then what the Irsays and the Colts did to Memphis in the 70s, what Bud Adams did a lot of the 90s.
Professional football in Memphis have not been a good mix, have they? I mean, that has not been the relationship there is not great.
Gabe, I wish I knew, and I think I tried to construct how many preseason football games I've been to at the Liberty Bowl Stadium, now Simmons, and I want to give a buddy George Macris his due. Simmons
Bank Liberty Stadium.
That's it. All the games I went to, convinced we sell out this time, we're getting a team. We're getting a team. If we sell it out this time.
It's going to change this time.
And we went over and over. Summer of 1976, bicentennial summer, went to a Cowboys Lions preseason game at Simmons Bank Liberty Field. About 27,000 there.
Yeah. And the AAF experience.
Oh, wow. That was the topper of all time. Only time I've been to football in
Brett,
Memphis in February.
Brett, that spoils it forever, though, right? I mean,
I think that was either this weekend or next weekend 3 years ago. Single worst sporting event I've ever been to in my life. It was laughably bad.
There's nobody there, right?
I mean, like nobody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There were more people in the press box than in the stands.
And Drew Barrett, who we talked to earlier in the show,
they beat him out of cash.
They still owe him money.
Yeah.
What was he doing at the games? I can't even remember.
Spotting?
He was spotting, and they didn't give him his money. Didn't give him his due.
Beat Drew out of his hard, and Drew worked hard too.
Hey, and you want to know something funny? I got charged at one point by them. I got sent to collections because of the physical they did on me to get on the team.
You had to pay for your own physical?
They sent me to collections because of it, yes. I figured it out with them and the whole 9 yards, but they sent it to collections. It was
How about that?
It was the most ridiculous, unbelievable thing I've ever dealt with. The most unprofessional garbage ever. And it started with the genius at top. I mean, he just had no idea what he was doing.
Charlie Ebersol.
He had no idea.
None.
He
had a good idea, and his dad had a good reputation.
And now that I think back on the idea, Brett, was it a good idea to pay everybody the same amount of money?
Probably not. No. Probably wasn't a good idea. It was his dad. It was based on his dad.
The contracts were pretty ridiculous too. I gave it a chance, and
that opening night game. I'm gonna say it was like February 17th, 2019.
It's a cold world even when it's hot outside, Brian.
Sure is.
It was so raw and nasty. Mm-hmm. I can't believe it didn't sleet. It tried to all night.
Yeah. I'll be on the other side of you guys. Okay. I was there for, I don't know if I went to every home game. I went to most of them. I had a blast. I loved it.
Well, you got a Johnny Manziel. Well, it was Johnny Manziel.
I have my Johnny Manziel. Well, no. Johnny Manziel got signed mid-season. I was there game one. I was a day one supporter.
Zach Mettenberger and Brandon Silvers brought you out to the stadium?
Oh, yeah. I was like probably a freshman at the time, man. I was out there rooting those guys on to victory, man. We had a good time.
I didn't see Johnny. I went to 2 or 3 games, had enough of it, and didn't go after it got good with Johnny.
That Johnny game was the fullest game.
Brett,
it was not very full.
I was too salty to ever show up to any of those things.
Well, I don't blame you, especially if they send you, have you end up in collection court.
And call me, and when they parted ways with me, had a assistant of the coach call me on my way back to Memphis. Driving back for practice the next day, got called.
Well, it's like the Moneyball scene where he tells them, "Hey, you got to tell them that they're getting traded."
Literally,
just training the guys.
I know we have a lot of friends that worked
was
in
bad.
It.
Mike Singletary was bad.
He was bad.
Well, we knew that.
He was bad.
We knew that.
He just wasn't bought in. That was his problem.
He was an NFL head coach.
We knew that. Well, he's the reason that Jim Harbaugh got hired in San Fran. He sure parted ways with everybody. They needed a new G. They cleared house after him. They said this is enough. Now
the football product wasn't awful.
Well, no, I thought there was good players.
Yeah,
I thought it was on par with the XFL.
Mm-hmm.
There was good players, but again,
not a lot of good players on the Memphis team.
We've had this conversation.
That's right.
What's the hunger? What's the hunger for spring football?
Canadian football was bad too, and that cut of player wasn't great. And that hot summer, boy, it was blazing hot for Canadian football.
The thought process is always when they launch these leagues, they should partner up with the NFL. The NFL is never partnering with any of these. They're never sharing their money with these guys.
Why the NFL doesn't need a partner? They have the best minor league out there.
They have college football.
Mm-hmm. They have college football.
And they don't have to pay for it.
They got the SEC and the Big Ten and the Pac-12 paying for it.
They don't have to pay for it. People bring that up all the time with a partnership with the NFL. So you're telling me that they're going to share some of their money with a minor league system? Absolutely not.
Nobody's that philanthropic.
They have no interest in that.
None.
All the money's coming into their pockets, lining their pockets. In the NBA,
original USFL was a lot of fun, though. It was 84, 85.
XFL was too much for you, though. The original XFL, way too much.
Hideous. And
oh yeah,
the dope's running it.
Yeah. In the NBA today, we actually had an early trade. Before we get to Taco Bell Crunch Time, we had the Clippers trading Eric Bledsoe, Grizzly great Justice Winslow, and Keon Johnson, and a future second-round pick to the Trailblazers, and the Clippers are receiving Norman Powell and Robert Covington.
I love that for the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
I like it for the Clippers. For the Trailblazers, somebody pointed this out.
What are you doing?
They traded away Gary Trent Jr. Was it last year or 2 years ago?
Oh, I think it was last year.
I think it was last year. They have somehow turned that into Eric Bledsoe, or Gary Trent Jr. and 2 first-round picks turned into Eric Bledsoe. That's what they turned that into. And Gary Trent. And by the way, have you seen Gary Trent Jr. lately?
Yeah,
lighting it up. 30 points a game in the last 5. So that is just the Trailblazers have ruined this. And if I'm Dame, I'm looking at some of these moves. I'm like, I can't. And I know he's the guy who doesn't want to cheat the grind and everything else, but how can you sit idly by and just let your front office ruin this for you?
Lillard to New York, to the Knicks.
I like that. I'd like that.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
I don't mind that at all. But for the Clippers, this makes a whole lot of sense. Norman Powell's a good player. Powell's a real good player. Solid. And Robert Covington,
he's in every trade talk, isn't he?
Yes.
Almost like Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre's in every deal.
I'm going to mention, I'm going to say it, okay? Robert Covington is singly the most overrated player.
Ooh.
In the NBA at times. When it comes to okay, maybe I went a little overstated a little bit, but
Ricky Rubio's, well, he's injured, but
they think that Robert Covington's some big piece. He plays good defense. And they call him a 3-and-D wing, and he doesn't really knock down the 3 at a crazy clip. When you watch him visibly, offensive game's not really
Could
there.
Kemba Walker be in that league? Could he be in that conversation?
He's certainly. And let me say, I definitely overstated saying singly the most. There's a lot of overrated players in the.
He's just in the handful.
Yes. When we come back, we'll go ahead and put a wrap on this Friday edition, this week of Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303.
003. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
It's a new year. That means it's time for a floor model sale at Family Leisure. You can help Family Leisure make room for all the new 2022 products that are coming in. All floor models are priced to move right now. If it's on the floor, it's on sale. But you better hurry to get these special savings because once these floor models are gone, folks, they're gone. We're talking theater seating, massage chairs, arcades, foosball and hockey tables, all on sale. Shuffleboard tables, pool tables, they're on sale too. Plus, there's so much more on sale. And you can get New Year's deals on spas and swimming pools as well. Family Leisure needs the room for new inventory. So what's here has got to go. You can help them. The floor model sale is happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. Happy New Year from our good friends at Family Leisure.
Say there was a place, the perfect place for everything you need for tailgates and patios. Grills and chairs, charcoal and coolers. Everything to make a great game or a great day. That perfect place wouldn't be a warehouse. It's East Memphis Ace Hardware. Locally owned and operated at Quince and White Station, East Memphis Ace Hardware is where you'll find Benjamin Moore paints, local plants from local growers, and Black & Decker tools. Around the block, what you need in stock with people who know their tailgates. Welcome to East Memphis Ace Hardware, the home convenience store.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
All right, real quick, since I'm getting mashed at the text line for calling Robert Covington overrated, because I think there's some Grizz fans that wanted Robert Covington as a 3-and-D wing.
I told you be careful about that.
Here's the thing, though. Robert Covington this year, 34% from 3, 7 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and he's getting paid $12 million a year.
I don't think you were that far off.
I'm sorry. And there's a reason he's involved.
Don't be sorry. Don't apologize.
Oh, no, I'm not sorry.
Don't end the week that way.
There is a reason that he's involved in all of these trade talks.
I agree. Same with Kelly Oubre.
What I learned today, Brian Windhorst was talking about Bronny and LeBron. And he said LeBron likes L.A., he likes raising his family in L.A., and his post-career businesses are in L.A., but he's made it very clear that he wants to play with his son. If that situation is available outside of L.A., he'll pursue it. And I went and sort of looked at the timeline. Bronny's a junior right now, so 2024 he'd be getting drafted if he is a one-and-done guy. LeBron would be 39 going on 40, but that would be a sight to see. That would be fun.
Do we know that Bronny's that good? I don't know that he is or isn't. Does anybody know?
From a statistics standpoint, he doesn't look that great in high school right now, but he is LeBron's son.
He's LeBron's son, yeah.
He'll get that nod.
I mean, he's not as bad as like Michael Jordan's sons were.
He's not that big yet, though, is he?
No.
He's 6'3".
Yeah.
He's still a junior.
But, I mean, he'll be a guard in the league.
Yeah, he's got room to grow, but we're going to overrate LeBron James' son. It's just how it goes.
We are. I learned the NFL, they badly want to move on from Stephen Ross. He's been a problem almost from day one, and I'm with Bruce Marshall. I think he's catching fire on both fronts. I think the NFL is probably working to get rid of him. I think he's done. He's been to his last game. Also, learned this today. Kevin Steele could pull off the unthinkable. The trifecta of 3 jobs in a week and a half.
Shout out. Kevin Steele, wanted man. That's all you can chalk
that's
that up
Mary
to.
Lou Retton Olympic stuff.
Also with the LeBron James Jr. thing with Bronny, he's filed trademarks recently on BJ Jr. It's a logo that he has. I think it's his signature. He's also filed a trademark on Bronny and Bronald. Bronald? What?
What is that?
Okay, have the trademark.
I just want to make it in my sports life that I'm watching Bronny, Chuck Woods, and Arch Manning play ball.
Bronald.
That's all I want to do. It's the only thing I have left now.
What I could have done without today, some of the Harsin stuff. If this is true, Brian Harsin put it on himself. But don't go after the poor girl that it's being. My gosh, some of the nastiness pointed at her on Twitter. I mean, you're going to make her delete her Twitter. You're going to make her turn off notifications. You're going to put her in a spot where she's getting depressed because of some of the
You can
pubs
turn
she's
off
getting.
notifications?
She shouldn't.
Yeah, you can. But she
can?
shouldn't be taking this type of
I didn't know you did.
nastiness from people online.
No, she doesn't. I could have done without the UCLA player conduct leaving the court last night at Arizona after a great game against Arizona. Bill Walton was very different last night. Arizona, they can go to the Final Four. Tommy Lloyd in his first year as a head coach, and he was prepared to be a head coach after 20 years of training being an assistant. That's the model for college coaches, not hiring coaches from high school.
Ooh.
You had to say it, didn't you? Brett. Okay, I hear you.
Top rope.
But yeah, ETN is the guy's name, right? The guy who spit.
Yeah, seldom used player.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hurt. He's out for the season with a knee injury. And he's spitting on people.
But you know not to spit on somebody.
It's gross.
Yeah, you know not to spit on somebody, but I could tell you some stories from college football.
You got to just keep going to that locker room, don't you?
Huh?
You just got to keep going down that tunnel, don't you?
You can't listen to people.
No.
Although I had some teammates who thought that was a good way to get in people's head is spitting on them. I never got into that. That's not for me. Not for me.
Not good. Not good.
What we're looking forward to this weekend, we're going to have some Grizzlies action. We're going to have some Tigers action.
Mm-hmm.
Coach K's last trip to Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
How about it?
We got the Clash at the Coliseum. Y'all going to be watching that? No, okay.
Maybe,
all right, maybe not.
I didn't know about it.
I'll have the full. The NASCAR is clashing at the Coliseum. First time since the 50s that we have a NASCAR.
At the Mid-South Coliseum?
No, wrong Coliseum. The LA Coliseum. First
Coliseum.
time we've had it at a college football stadium since the 50s.
That Coliseum once had Evel Knievel try to go over the buses there.
You're a NASCAR guy?
I'm not a NASCAR guy, but I will be tuned in for this, so I'll have the recap Monday.
I got you.
Got Kentucky basketball in Tuscaloosa tomorrow.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Well, Alabama plays up to their competition.
They sure do.
But that's all we have for today and the week. Thanks for joining us. Would like to thank Drew Barrett, Bruce Marshall, Jason Munns, and Alan Bell for their contributions to the program today. For Brett, for Bryant, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night, your weekend. Stay safe, stay warm. We'll holler at you Monday.
Valentine.